Welcome to the green room. Oh, man. So, a little behind the scenes about Mike Manzi. I'm not... Aside from Sokol, I could give a rat's ass about the new school Predators. So, I don't know a lot of the lore of Dupé or Cologne or Velez or fucking Manzi here. The only one who stands out is Sokol to me. I'm wondering if that's because he's so, like, not only in, like, attitude, but, like, I feel like the color scheme of him was, like, Roush. I feel like he was wearing a red shirt under his brown leather jacket.
Roush, I think so.
And when Manzi shows up with his red plaid, I go, aha!
Yeah. You like the red.
Well, and then plus his, like... Both of their attitudes, although, like, Jeff is a little more stressed, they're both like, there's no problem here. Like, come on, man. Let's just have a drink. Just one vodka tonic for Roush. God knows what Sokol's up to. I don't want to speculate because he might drink something I enjoy. I don't want to shed disparagement upon them.
I don't know. He seems like a beer person.
Sokol? Yeah, he's probably like a... If he lived locally, he'd probably be like a kilt lifter or some other, like, seemingly, like, microbrew, but not, like, posh, like...
He lived in Massachusetts, so I'm thinking he was drinking, like, Guinness.
No, there's gotta be... He seems like, with the faux hawk and, like, the ultra cool guy shirt, he feels like he's a microbrew dude.
Or he likes the different seasons of Sam Adams.
Yeah, or what? Maybe he's like definitely poser level hipster.
Yeah.
So yeah, the seasonal Sam Adams are like
Oktoberfest,
Dogfish, or like a Hefeweizen because he thinks it's cloudy and it's exotic or something.
He just goes to like the liquor store and picks out like the coolest box.
He doesn't. I'm talking about in the bar. God knows what he drinks at home.
At the bar. I see.
His real self drinks probably. I don't know what at home. I'm just talking about, like, if you were drinking in front of other people, because there's two sides to everybody's drinking coin, I believe. But, I don't know. The thing with Manzi is, like, he's like almost a nothing burger, but now that I've looked into him a little bit doing research for this episode, he's a little compelling. I don't know. We'll get into it, but he's but far and away nowhere close to like my top 10 Predators.
Top 10.
Yeah, like if I had to sit down and one day I might make a top 10 list of the best Predators on the block, so to speak. Maybe we'll do that once.
Yeah.
What a day. Let's see here. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Hustling beforehand, trying to get some odds and ends and other art pieces done. Insanity Pepper! Don't you think covering Manzi would be like a safe idea? Well, yeah, that's why I finally came across the resolve to do it. I thought, you know what? It would be a safe idea. Like, so I went in, I was like, let me take a look around. No Chris Hansen, so yeah, it was a safe idea. Oh my God.
Checked all the boxes.
A safe idea. Fucking, here's the thing. I would love to, I've said this before, but I would love to have a nickname that I didn't come up with, flattering or not, but I would also love like a catchphrase associated with me that isn't like, here's the thing. And I don't want to become a Predator to do it, but like all these Predators have quotable lines, man. They're like a classic MST3K. Every Predator is a Mike era MST3K, and they're just chock full of quotable lines, man. Like they're all Cameron Mitchell in Space Mutiny. They're all Dr. What's His Nuts from Boggy Creek 2.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
People out there know. Or Trumpy. I know that's a Joel episode, but still, it's good. Oh,
It's fun
man.
how the three of us go underneath the fence. Boop, boop, boop.
I made this specifically for I don't know why. I don't know why I did the fence thing. I was feeling saucy, maybe feel like Wilson. Oh no, the impetus was PJ because he always has people looking through shutters. So I said, you know what? It's time for me to look over your fence,
Yep.
bro. And here we are, all three of us.
Yep.
Just wanted to show that off. There's really no reason. So the slideshow. I've also got this. If I ever I'll probably never have to use it, but if we ever take a bathroom break, put the mics on mute, hopefully.
We'll be right back.
Run out there. I'd play a commercial, play the Bathroom Cougar maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta maybe find somebody. I go to Fiverr and have some more commercials recorded because I feel like, not that I want to rip off Baked Salmon, but I was doing that before he did, full disclosure.
It's true.
I wrote the Bathroom Cougar, and it breaks my heart because somewhere on one of my millions of hard drives, it must be out there somewhere, and I don't want to bother him again, but Wayne June, God bless him, recorded a bunch of hilarious commercials, and I found the Bathroom Cougar, but there was one that topped that. The product was 1,000 trivia questions about Richard Petty. And it got, tepid reviews according to the commercial, and it was just like, Wayne June hit it out of the fucking park. I just wanted him to record the script, but he edited in like crowd noise and engines revving. Like he did all the editing on the Bathroom Cougar too. Like I did nothing. I just sent him the script and I was like, hey dude, you're awesome and thanks. And he sent me back finished products. Maybe I'll play that before the show so you guys can get a real sense of, if you haven't heard it, or it stands to be repeated.
Yeah.
Because it's so
He's awesome.
It's so fun. Oh yeah, maybe we should do that. Tell you what, I'm gonna get everything ready and we'll just do it. Hey, oh crap! Hold on. Now I've got to buy time because I closed the wrong window.
You should hit recently closed tabs on the history.
Don't worry about it. I got it all under control. Boop! Damn it. And I started. You know what? I'm glad I screwed up because now I'm going to get all the windows I actually need open because I was woefully unprepared, I'm seeing now.
How do we know you?
I don't want to hear that. All right, so here we go, guys. Get ready to party.
This episode of FFOP Radio is brought to you by the Bathroom Cougar. Does this happen to you?
Someone's in here. Someone's in here.
With the Bathroom Cougar, scare off any would-be embarrassment before it has a chance to happen.
Oh shit, I gotta get out of here.
The Bathroom Cougar, available at Best Buy and all fine retailers.
You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Dave. It is Flamingo Friday here on FFOP Radio /TV. I can't make up my mind.
FFOP Radio TV.
Yeah, because one day I would like to get back into podcasting because that was my first true love. It just felt more intimate. I was able to get more guests. With live stuff, I feel like that scares people a lot of times.
Yeah, that's true.
Whatever. You know what I mean. Krista, producer in studio. You can hear her on the mic.
Yeah.
We are at it again with the TCAP / sit down and have a seat with Chris Hansen and all that other good shit.
Sit down, have a seat, and a drink with Chris Hansen.
Yeah, so the last one we did, who was the last guy we did? I forget. Was it
Sokol?
Sokol?
Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we did Sokol last time, who is like long-winded and infuriating, and Manzi here is brief and infuriating, so that's what we're going over, his encounter with Chris Hansen plus his interrogation. Because Sokol put out, an hour and 40 minutes of sitting there and sassing Detective Kelly up left, right, and center.
So sassy.
Whereas Manzi sits down and since his chat log basically, like, he doesn't have a marriage contract, he doesn't have anything super explicit. It is just like a nothing burger. It's just all these dudes on a graph, right? Sometimes maybe you'll see like skill graphs if you're an RPG player or whatever, and it's like a hexagon or a pentagon or whatever, and the color shaded areas sort of move around based on your skills.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Manzi here leans hard into the annoying personal aspect skill ratio, but like his interaction online not ratio, but stats are super low. Like, if you're a better thing for me is, like, I remember collecting Marvel Universe cards, and on the back they'd have stats 1 to 7, health, fighting stuff, psychic ability, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And so they all have those things. Like, yeah, Manzi here tapped out on like annoying bullshit on like, it's whatever, off the scale. It's like celestial level bullshit. But like his chat log is like, what's their name's fighting skill? It's like a 1 or a 2. It's literally nothing. So it's weird because he's kind of like a genie, because most dudes in all of these stings and stuff have the substantial chat log. So they feel like a this is going to be another mixed metaphor, but like an action figure that you can break apart, like Skylanders did a thing where you can mix and match bottoms and tops of characters.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the legs are the chat log and all the interaction. And then the interaction with Chris is like, and the interrogation footage, if we get it, is the body. So in this scenario, Manzi here is a genie. His bottom half is utterly ethereal. It's just a plume of smoke that disappears off into nothing. Whereas like the rest of him is solid as a rock.
Solid as a rock.
I mean, if you know Manzi, you know what we're getting at here. So let's hop into it. So here he is. We're watching it from True Crime Daily, or Crime Watch Daily rather's channel here. It's 12 minutes of footage. 3 minutes are going to be relevant. And I'm going to say 3 minutes as an exaggeration, because his interaction with Chris is so short and they edited that down. And we're going to watch a little, whatever. I don't need to keep explaining it. Let's just watch. This is Manzi showing up to the Sting house.
Good. How are you?
Okay.
There's the decoy. Look at those cupcakes.
Being like a little.
But they're stale as shit.
This is like weird.
Well, it's not so much that it's weird. It's welcome.
I don't know about that, because like these probably got changed daily, because one of the dudes comments, I forget who, and if you know it, you can say it in the typing square, but there's red velvet. I think Joshua Cologne says, oh, what was red velvet? And these are obviously not red velvet.
So it's not those stale cookies from the other Sting house.
Well, the cookies can last. Like, I feel like with a cupcake,
They'd get weird.
yeah, like cookies a couple days on the counter, you go, yum. Like they had the problem with the brownies.
They eat them.
I know, but that's the thing. It's
No,
like,
I'm saying like afterwards.
oh yeah, no, yeah, totally. But like with the guy who wanted to take a drive and he was eating those crusty ass brownies,
Yeah.
they don't want to scare people as easily, maybe. So these probably got changed on the regs.
Do you mind if I just like look around?
Oh, go for it.
You okay?
I don't know.
What Manzi doesn't know is that I am waiting for him right behind that curtain.
He doesn't know
Mike
that.
He
Manzi
doesn't
is a
know.
math tutor.
But you don't think it's weird that there's a curtain right there? I don't
guy.
Right. So look, you could, from this angle, I want to back it up just a hair. But you can see, like, okay, so the curtain is not pressed up against the wall.
Right.
Like, it's not like in this room to the brew closet and out into the bathroom that is connected. I've got curtains instead of doors, but there's also doors, that are meant to be there. They are in the threshold of the door. If you come in and there's like, look how much room. This is probably 2 or 3 feet. So it's a black curtain that's propped back on like a photo backdrop stand. Like
some PVC pipes.
his brain should be telling him something is fucked, but he's like, nope, I'm going to go in for a closer look. It's like there are bees flying around the hive and coming dangerously close to his eyes and nose. And he's like, I still got to see if there's honey in this bitch.
Those rooms were dark and terrifying when Sokol was there at night.
Oh, totally. Yeah. All of the, could you imagine, just a black void here instead where Chris Hansen emerges like the specter of doom?
Who suspected something seemed weird in our sting house.
Hey, what? Oh, you can even see it better. I don't want to keep harping. Oh, okay, sorry. Let's stop. What's up with this, right? So what is up? Because I've seen the uncensored footage of this guy and I want to say Cologne too. And I think even with Sokol, it's a different picture.
Oh.
So not only are they rotating cupcakes, they rotated the picture, but they still had to blur it. What could they have possibly put here? Is it a copywritten image?
A branded, something with
did they roll through and they're like, oh, damn it, we accidentally put a fucking poster for Coke up? Or is this Chick-fil-A promotional material or something? What's up with that? Here we go.
He never calculated that I would be the one behind the curtain.
Calculate.
That's a dirty ass binder.
He's a math teacher. Boom.
How are you? I'm good. Good. Why don't you have a seat right on that stool, please?
Hey, how are you?
No, right here. Sir.
See ya.
I know. Please, right there.
I know. Yeah. To quote Michael Scott, there's the smudgeness. I know. He, why we're at that point in life, right, where everybody knows who and what Chris Hansen is and all that other good shit. And so,
and I'm sorry, Chris Hansen's face, he looks terrible there. He's a handsome guy. He was a handsome guy. I'm not saying he's not still,
Manzi,
but he's kind of great. Everybody calls him
This is okay. Handsome. So yeah, this is the weird era between how he looks now, which is totally fine. It's a little more gray, a little more withered. He's not as the belly is gone for him. But there was a time where he just looked like your confused grandpa who had this constant cowlick bedhead bullshit going on. And whoever let him get away with that for, I felt 3 years, should be put in jail. They're the real criminals here.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is haggard Chris Hansen.
And his jacket's too short for him, his arms.
It's not good. This was, he was in the midst of the Kickstarter controversy, however you want to, allegedly, and all other good shit. He's not feeling good here. He's not looking good here. He's trying to build up steam. He's nowhere near the True Blue show or To Catch a Predator. He's in that gross middle zone. And that's why it didn't, we get 2 minutes of footage here.
Sit, please.
Okay.
I need to talk to you.
Well,
what are you doing?
Wow.
He's not sitting.
Well, I'm here because I was slightly concerned.
Look at that
Slightly
forehead.
Concerned about what? Well, concerned because she's talking to people that are a lot younger, a lot older on the website.
Now, why were you so concerned about a 13-year-old girl?
Well,
look how aggressively edited this shit is. We've watched probably 30 seconds total.
Yeah.
I've seen 47 jump cuts.
Right. And it's at different time points because he had him sit. He was going to sit down. And then he's standing. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe. Yeah. Hilarious, Caleb. The Arctic attack cancer. Fucking hilarious.
His
Batman,
face.
right?
I don't like his face.
Yeah. Okay. So here's another thing I want to bring up. It hit me as I was watching it earlier today for the millionth time to try and gather my thoughts on it. But if you're familiar with the lolcow community, there's a minor figure out there whose name is Marshall Mathers, I believe the fourth. He's a big Eminem fan.
Yeah, obviously.
He's super fetishized farts. And he's also recently jumped off of YouTube because of all the trolling activity. Regardless, he and Mike Manzi here are carbon copies, save for Marshall can still grow hair.
He looks like David Cross to me.
No, he's the eyebrows, the nose, the chin. This is I don't know. It's sad because from here to here, he's 12. Then he's got a 30-year-old's jaw and
no eyebrows.
Different. A cranium from a different era. not a cranium, sorry, but like a brow ridge here.
Yeah.
And like, if he didn't have this sad little like multi-tiered ziggurat cul-de-sac of a haircut, not haircut, but like
where his hair
balding
was.
pattern, like he's doing this on purpose. Yeah. Like he's got like, because if you were to reverse the colors and take the black part and put it where the pink is, you would see a beautiful multi-tiered ziggurat that, many Mesoamericans would be proud to have on their own heads.
JD says everything you said is
Blade
true,
kid.
and
Yeah.
the weed whacker haircut was just whipped cream on the shit Sunday. That was 2015 Chris Hansen.
Oh, so it was sad, right? Because I was pulling for him. You don't want to see a hero fall from grace. You want to see them rise from the ashes like a phoenix. And he kept fucking shitting the ash bed.
She's talking to other people that are obviously
Talking to
same
other
age as me.
And how old are you?
Where is this?
I'm 32.
You're
Connecticut.
32.
Yes.
This is
This is
all
Fairfield.
of this is still Fairfield.
Oh,
Like
he's not from Connecticut though.
No, he's from, I think he came from
Jersey.
New York or something. It doesn't
something,
matter. He's also a math teacher, yada, yada, yada. You can look into it if you want to. But yeah, him, Sokol, Dupay, Cologne, Velez, all of them were, and because the Crime Watch thing didn't last long because, again, of the aforementioned Kickstarter shenanigans.
So you came over to make sure she was okay.
Well, I came over just to make
Well,
sure
I
that
came over.
Everything was fine.
everything was okay. I was not.
So you were going to search the house just now to make sure what?
Well,
Bad guys
I want,
were here?
well, I mean, I don't know. She could come. She could be here with a group of people, for all I know. She obviously was.
That's like, and look at the fucking look on his face where he's like, I just fucking nailed you. He doesn't, obviously, if you've seen this before, he doesn't believe it's Chris Hansen when he says his name, so he doesn't know it's Chris Hansen. But like, how unrecognizable does Chris Hansen have to become before you don't hear his voice? But whatever. Look at that. Like, obviously she was, and he feels like the look on his face just reads like, he's like, yeah, take
Gotcha, bitch.
that. Bitch. Like, I know you're probably your dad because they all think they're the dad.
Yeah.
And he's just like, obviously I was here
To help.
dickhead.
I mean, don't you think?
Don't you
Don't
think?
you think that would be
Checkmate.
like a safe idea?
A safe idea?
What was today's lesson supposed to be?
Checkmate.
Today.
God dang it. Hold on. I'm not going to watch a frigging commercial.
If you shop with the Walmart app, you know
But we are
everything
going
you
to hear
need.
it, apparently.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, now I can't even get rid of it. There.
Walmart.
Get out of here, you. Oh, man, it's not working. What's happening?
Because you can't skip it.
No, the
Oh,
TV was the TV part. Oh my God, we're having major issues here. Hold on. Window, main screen. There we are. And now we're having connection issues. This is a great show, guys. How you liking it, by the way? Huh? Oh man.
Hansen also totally phoned it in on all these stings. The bust of that pumpkin-headed fuck Jesse Velez could have been one of the all-time greats had Chris done his homework and read the chat log.
I know, right? And here's the thing. I don't want to be super hypercritical against Chris because, or maybe I should, we can't, we're the sum of our decisions. And I don't know. My humanity speaks to the part of him that's still a human, because we're all humans under it all. No matter how many scummy decisions we make, no matter how desperate we get, we still have an underlying humanity. And I don't want to be like, I don't know. I now that he's back, I'm sure everything is water under the bridge and yada, yada, yada. I don't know. Let's just, enough of me yakking. Let's get into it.
Ages, older ages.
Okay, let's get back to where we were.
Make sure that there was no like obviously like she invited me in and there were not.
So you were just being a good Samaritan.
And having said that, I still think Chris should have been up for the
like,
Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, we live in a world of dichotomies, right? Because on one half of this coin, we can hold up his history. We go, well, he's acting shitty now, but he did so much, right? Well, then now that we're saying is so bad, will be a part of history eventually. So will that tarnish the good? Like, whatever. I don't need to talk about Chris Hansen. I'm talking about Mike Manzi.
To make sure everything was okay.
13-year-old
Hansen stiffing someone on a hotel bill bothered Insanity Pepper.
Parents of the kids
Yeah.
you tutor
Yeah, what was his name?
with you coming to visit a 13-year-old girl after talking
I
about
just
smoking
watched that
marijuana.
video too.
Probably not. You're
Probably
right.
not.
You're right.
Now you tutor kids.
Sir, may I ask you a question?
Yes, you may.
Who are you?
First off, that is not completely true.
I have a couple more questions for you, though.
I really don't want to answer any more questions. And
Do you feel how aggressively edited this is? On
Yes.
top of all of the really aggressive cuts and hyper extenuating, or not extenuating, but like you can hear the music. It's like
Yeah.
it's all there. Speaking to the point of Hansen phoning it in, this is the editor breaking their necks to make this something.
Yeah.
But Mike Manzi is tap dancing like with zero pressure, so I don't know why the aggressive editing. We're missing a lot of chunks here between Chris and Mike, because I feel like we just lost 15 minutes of something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have marijuana with you?
Do you blaze?
Is it in your car?
No, it is not.
Then why did you say you were going to come over here and blaze? What's the lighter for?
I smoke cigarettes. They're in my car.
Okay. What's the lighter
Again,
for?
you see how this looks.
I know how it looks, and I'm
A
sorry.
32-year-old guy who deals with kids all the time comes over to visit a 13-year-old
Do you buy the
girl
story that
who's
Manzi
alone
is Ron
after
Knight's nephew?
I was going to bring that up when we got to the part where Ron Knight shows his face. And here's the thing. I kind of do. Number one, it always sort of felt a little weird, right? Their interaction where he's just like a petulant child that goes a little deeper than just like, come on, stranger guy. And number two, there is, I'm gonna drop him because he does great content. It's, oh shit, and I hope I don't fuck up his name. Average White YouTuber has put out 3 videos so far. One on Maurice Wolin, one on, oh my God, I'm blanking. But yeah, one of those 3 was Mike Manzi. And this guy does his research because he does videos on Where Are They Now? So, Jeff Stacy was the other one because he's dead. And so I feel like this kid, it feels like a kid. Everybody's a kid to me. But I feel like this kid really did his homework because he went above and beyond to research not only the crimes, but yeah, where they are now and how many steps of their lives were recorded either in legal fashion or on dating sites or whatever. This kid does his homework. So
Wow.
I 100% believe that Ron Knight was Mike Manzi's uncle.
discussion about smoking marijuana together.
P.S. If you're going to bring it up also, I also believe that the PetSmart images of him with the mask down and his little pedo stash, 100%, I believe that too.
Oh yeah, and
Sir,
he
I
also said
understand this.
that could have
I'm
been the
sorry,
reason
right?
for the heavy edit. Some have said.
Do you blaze?
Of this?
Did you blaze? Yes.
Maybe.
You're my soulmate. You call a 13-year-old girl a
We
soulmate?
were just talking. Come on, please.
Come on,
Walking.
you're 32. You got nothing
Buddy.
else to do on a Sunday?
I'm gonna watch football.
Trying to watch football. Who's playing? Steelers and the Ravens? Dupay already took your answer, bitch.
Here with a 13-year-old girl after you blazed.
After you blaze. He says blaze so often. It is fucking hilarious. Like, and I see why, because it's not just Chris Hansen being like, is that a funny word for toking up the Mary Jane? But it does. We can't see his face, but it gives him a little jolt every time he asks him if he's blazing. Because kids don't like to have their vernacular repeated back to them by a parent, and that's what we have here. Chris is in his 50s, Mike here is in his 30s. It's that Devin and father-son energy where he's like, did you blaze? Did you blaze?
Let's
See
blaze.
how this
Look,
looks.
I know how it looks. I'm very sorry.
I know, right? The guy he shares the train with, and he goes, Chris!
Maybe please leave.
That was Connecticut. Are you kidding me with this? I gotta just buy YouTube Premium. Like, just it feels like a fucking ripoff, and it probably is. But I've just got to do it because I'm finding more and more of this stuff on YouTube, and the commercials you guys don't deserve. Here we go.
Math tutor Mike Manzi's number is up. He thought he was going to spend the day smoking pot with a 13-year-old
Blazing.
girl. Instead, he's spending it with me
Did you blaze?
and the police.
There's something you need to know.
Is there cops?
Here we go.
There's something you need to know.
Please.
I'm Chris Hansen.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Chris Hansen, Baked Salmon says this a lot, and it's fucking true, but Chris Hansen loves to drop his own name, and I don't know if he likes being recognized or unrecognized better. Look at his face when he says that.
Is there cops?
There's something you need to know.
Please.
I'm Chris Hansen.
Okay, so he's like, all right, let's see how this bitch reacts. He goes, all right, scanning. Nope, 404, file not found.
No, you're not.
And then he's like, wait a minute. Also, there's another fucking blurred fucking painting right here. Maybe these are family photos or portraits, whatever.
Oh,
Sorry.
maybe.
Doesn't matter. But he's like, please tell me you're not. It's like his face is like the same face that someone would have if they pick up a glass thinking it's milk and realizing it's orange juice. He's like, ah.
How's your dog?
Look at this. Look at this.
Amy.
No, you're not. And he's like,
Totes.
I think he likes it better when they don't recognize him. Because when they do, it feels like their fate is sealed. And he gets a little bit of an ego boost. Don't get me wrong. They go, oh, I know you. You're Chris Hansen. He goes, yeah, bitch. But when they don't, he goes, oh. He gets to revel in the surprise that they're going to feel when in this case, his uncle and the security team comes out with all the cameras and shit.
Oh, Chris was legit pissed. News reporters live and die by their recognition.
I'm saying, but with Chris Hansen, it's a different kettle of fish because a reporter IRL being like not recognized in public and having them be like, don't you know who I am? Aren't then going to have the I don't know how you want to describe it, but like the bump up in status of like a policeman coming in, like arresting the person who didn't personally recognize you. So that probably soothes the sting a little bit. Like whatever the sunburn is of like, I don't know who the fuck you are. The aloe that comes quickly afterwards is the camera, followed by a heavy dose of like a milk bath of the police interrogation.
You're not. Yes, I am. Please let me go home.
Look at this.
Guys.
Oh.
Sir,
Guys,
it'd be best if you went out this door.
No, because I'm going to get arrested. I know what's going to happen. Sir, I really can't afford to do this. I can't.
Okay, so yeah, did you see? So back here,
the guy
Ron Knight was holding him back, and now he's disappeared.
Yeah.
So yeah, he must have made a fucking shit fit when his uncle came out. He must have been like, what the fuck? And they had to cut all that and then try and make it look believable.
Go back to when he walks over to because Ron Knight's the guy in the gray sweatshirt, right?
Please let me go home.
This is him right here.
Yeah, and he turned around, saw him, and was like, "Oh fuck!"
There it is. See,
and now he's
gone.
not
there. The camera guy's like, "No."
Yep.
I'm going to get arrested. I know what's going to happen, sir.
And I guarantee it's like right now, Ron is like, "Fuck, it's my nephew. I'm not going out there unless I literally have to."
But wouldn't he have already known that it was his nephew? Because
well, yeah, obviously, like when he shows up or whatever, like I'm sure he knew long before he even showed up at the Sting House because he probably gets a rundown on whoever shows up. But here the fuck we are, where like, and they're trying to hide it from us, and expertly, right? Because my only intuition was I felt like there was a connection, and we had people come and verify this shit.
I really can't afford to
Hey,
do
Matt.
this. I can't.
What's up, Matt?
I'm really not
Do you
here for
play?
any
Do you play?
malcontent. I really can't. Please do not.
But look at the chat.
I really just
can't.
wanna-
Please do not.
Please let me go home.
Oh, there he is.
I'm
Boom.
gonna get arrested going that way. Please. No, I can't. I can't. I won't. Please.
You can't go this way.
Please, man.
You can't go this way.
Guys.
Now, if you remember, or maybe if you have never seen it, but compare this in your mind to his reaction to David K., who like clawed at his face like a Dementor and like reached for Chris and grabbed the paper and like he was going like Ron Knight's like, no, what the fuck, dude? That was the gentlest uncle tap on the shoulder where he's like, no, you
gotta go that way.
You just can't, dude. Like, sorry. Like, all the Easters and Christmases we spent together mean jack shit now. Because that's Chris Hansen, dude.
This is horrible.
Horrible. Horrible.
There's only one way out. Through the
Freaking
garage.
horrible.
The Fairfield, Connecticut cops are waiting with a pair of handcuffs with his name on them.
Get on the ground.
They don't make him go to the ground. He does bitch though. Here we go. Guys!
Just follow the instructions, okay? Just calm down. Just follow the instructions. We'll explain everything. No, just relax.
Please, I can't.
Freaking 4 cops around him. Like, you're probably good with
Please.
this one.
I can't. You don't understand.
I can't afford jail.
And just like, because here's the thing, he's not giving up the ghost on the whole like, please, sir, which means this tactic probably works in his everyday life.
Oh, I'm sure.
Every time he's gotten in trouble, and you know that Ron is like, God damn it, because he's probably familiar with this. Maybe they're not super close, Uncle. I'm not super close to any of my uncles, but I'm sure that like when he was a kid, there was probably a fair amount of exposure around holidays and birthdays and shit, which would be enough to get a decent taste on your palate of Mike here, which I'm sure has been this sourpuss little bitch his entire life.
He argues with the cops, and while he's not resisting arrest, he sure isn't being...
Now, if you'll notice here, this object came into play, which, tasers make you shut up. Yeah. Unless you're that guy who says, I'll get you, bitch. Then you don't give a shit.
overly cooperative. Listen closely. The
Look
cops
at that,
tell
look at that.
Manzi they may have to pull out the taser.
You're gonna get to
May have to pull it out. It's already out.
Kneel down. I'm gonna get.
But okay, so here's the thing. I don't flubs happen like that all the time, because what happens in the VO booth, is written by somebody, yada yada. I mean, there are even creators on YouTube, and it drives me nuts, but I can't help it, where like somebody's name will be horrifyingly mispronounced, or like a place will be horrifyingly mispronounced, and I go, well, whatever. The narrator isn't maybe from Arizona, because that happens a lot. I just watched a video where there was a murder in Tempe, but was repeatedly pronounced Tempe by the narrator. And I go, okay, you know what? Hit or miss. You don't know. Maybe that's cultural disconnect, right? I gave it a pass. And then 10 times out of 10, as soon as the narration is over, it cuts to news footage that immediately within the first 3 words says the word that they just mispronounced. And I go, you had to have this clip beforehand, right? Did you write the script and then
you watch it?
Try to build your case?
Stop manhandling my favorite hoodie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at him. He's like, they're really trying to get that hood.
Yeah. This is horrible.
Horrible.
I'm gonna get down.
Kneel down.
I'm getting down.
Horrible, guys. My knees are horrible. Look at that.
I feel like kneeling down is more difficult for the cop to put
into the back of the unmarked car and
things on.
hauled off to the police station.
You seldom see a taser, like a gun-style taser, held point blank to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize why he's doing it here is because you don't want to, have Manzi be like, doink, and have that 3 inches turn into 6 and shoot your fellow cop in the face. But it's just odd because of the shape. Since it's in the shape of a gun, like if you... obviously, since it's like yellow, it would be wildly shocking if it were like a black taser being held like right up against the dude's neck, and like any passing wafer, it was like checked out. It'd be like, that is a fucking aggressive gun stance for a cop.
Yeah.
The only numbers this math tutor will be crunching today are how much his bail will be.
Which you don't have to crunch. They tell you. They just tell you. It's not a math problem, Chris.
Yes, Mike, we are. He takes off his jacket before posing for a mugshot.
Look at his math shirt.
Chris is about to call reference to his shirt, which is whatever. I don't care about his shirt. Look at his fucking face. He's one of these pale dudes who all the emotions he feels probably plays across the capillaries of his nose and cheeks, rather. And you can just tell this is Mike Manzi at an 11. He is so close to having like a stress rash all over his body. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Is a math equation. It's a t-shirt popular with graduates of MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Oh.
But he didn't go there. He got his degree from a small New York college.
He got this shirt off Amazon.
As he's booked, he bites his fingernails.
He sits in a blue chair. He wears orange shorts. Like, fucking great, Chris.
Line your shoes. Are you right-handed?
Left-handed.
And then he's fingerprinted before he decides to wait.
Look at that. Does that just
pasty
scream
leg.
toddler?
Yeah.
Like, this is the energy and expression my son gives me when he gets in trouble.
Waive his right to remain silent. and
That's
speak to
Gentile's
detectives.
chair.
So now that you read all this and you understand.
Okay, so really quick, we're going to see just a little bit of this, and I want to show you the massive difference in quality, because this is obviously it's Crime Watch Daily's camera crew and everything, so it's HD, high quality, probably the fucking size of a GoPro, or maybe it's not. I doubt it, because like it's in the interrogation room, and I doubt they're going to let like a huge rig of cameras and mics be set up, but just look at this footage and the clarity.
Yes. Okay. Yes, we can.
Because I want you to
During the
really feel the punch in the guts that the actual interrogation footage we'll be going over later will feel like.
With a detective, Manzi fidgets a lot. He lets out a big sigh, but it's understandable. He's on the hot seat in the ice-cold interrogation room.
Okay, also really quick, now that I'm bringing that up, because a lot of the human experience plays across the human face. And so now in an age where 4K, 8K, 6K, 1080p, all of this technology exists, and relatively cheaply, the high definition interrogation camera should be a must have, because it's one thing to get like Jodi Arias or Casey Anthony or all these low res footages where like, yeah, or Delia DiPolito, where it's just like a fucking potato camera, because the verbiage and the inflection is so damning. But if you could see like the dedicated pixels of Manzi's face here.
Yeah, Matt just said you could see every hair follicle on his head.
I'm saying, and so when he has an emotion, it's boom. It's in living color and as big as you want it, because in 4K you can blow up something the size of a fucking building.
Insanity Pepper says Crime Watch Daily used Sony Red cameras and the police used the potato.
Okay, so yeah, the red cameras are pretty small. Relatively, because like if you remember the bazookas they had in TCAP, and like, but that's the thing, you could get a GoPro-sized camera that's 4K, because all you need is the camera to be a camera. They've got mics all over the fucking room.
Mm-hmm.
Give us some HD footage, police people, because that's the thing. When you're trying to get a jury to convict someone, you're appealing to them emotionally. Sure, you're putting forth evidence and having hard facts and all this other shit, but don't bullshit each other and ourselves. You're playing on people's emotions. A prosecutor will play up the horror or the emotional, destitute, way that everybody was affected by this crime or whatever. Use your best tool. A human, a face.
Yeah.
When I see Mike Manzi's face, I go, this guy is guilty as shit. But if I saw, and you will see, the potato camera that we're going to see later, you go, I mean, there's just something lost.
Difference.
And it's important that you understand that.
I do. I understand the age difference, and
Right.
and that's why I really was not intending on doing anything with this girl.
What'd you think when she said she was 13?
I really felt like there was definitely a position that she was putting herself in that
Victim blaming.
wasn't going to be a good one.
I just love the toilet paper on the damn table.
Oh yeah, it feels like maybe a personal insult or something, but they'll sometimes put toilet paper instead of tissues on the table. Okay, so here it is, everybody. Now take a look at this quality footage. This looks like an FMV from a LucasArts game from 1996. Like, if at any point your Guybrush Threepwood and you stumble into a secret area, you might find the Mike Manzi interrogation. And the sound is real bassy.
Like we talked about at the house.
Let me move the toilet paper.
Come talk to you.
Maybe they thought that he was going to act like Cyrax and he was going to start picking in his ass.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, Conehead. Totally.
Figure out what happened to you.
He would have been rejected by the home planet.
Yes, but still. I understand. Before we talk,
Okay.
we have to do formalities.
Formalities.
I'm sure you watch TV.
Paperwork,
rights and all that kind
TV.
of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Now, just out of curiosity, are this supposed to do this when I get arrested?
no.
How does that work?
It's before your
does that
question
work?
about
Shouldn't I have gotten when I was arrested? How does this whole getting arrested for trying to come and get with a kid thing work? I'm just, I'm a babe in the woods.
incident.
Okay.
Wing Commander cutscene.
Yeah, and you know what? Wink, man, that's hilarious. Yeah, Mike Manzi as Mark Hamill. But you know what's crazy? There are places out there that will blow your mind. So let me to knock my own dick in the dirt. We did a bit of footage from local Bullhead City, Arizona, where a guy was pulling his Johnson out in Walmart and yanking it. And that footage was clean as shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Bullhead City is a town of 1,400 misfits. Like nobody. I fixed their single bank when I was an electrician.
Yeah.
It's right across the street from Laughlin, Nevada. And everybody there is just a burnt, sun-baked husk of a human. I apologize if you live there because I'm sure that's not really the case. But they had fucking like 1080p. When we watched Michael Bailey, give us this whole I don't know, and that salty lady detective be like, your cock and balls were out, Mike or Henry or whatever your name was. What the fuck?
Things with booking, your name, address, all that kind of stuff.
Just formalities.
Yeah, that you have to do. This is just now that we're going to talk about kind of what happened today.
Okay.
We're going to go through this.
Please do. This is Spanish.
So I'm going to have you read these. All right. Starting here, just if you could.
But seriously, as a personal note, not I keep stopping it, but whatever, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
When I was working as an electrician, we were, me and my partner were on the roof of a bank. So just imagine, Bullhead City gets to be 122 in the summer, which so happened to be. I was on the roof of this bank and roughly 10 to 20 degrees hotter on the roof of a building because of fucking
reason.
Physics hates humans being on tops of buildings. And just being up there for a minute, I felt dead. And we would just driving to and from the hotel to the bank. I saw just these beef jerky people with their mouths hanging open and their lips just white and crusty. And I just felt so sad. And they had HD cameras in their fucking interrogation room.
We did cover the Michael Bailey interrogation.
Yes, Michael Bailey. That's who it was.
Yeah, you said his name before.
Yeah,
we did that one. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I thought his name was Henry. Yeah, Michael Bailey. Yeah. Oh, that was a
That was the one where the lady interrogator was in the corner drinking a coffee with her jeans on,
and she's
right?
like, you know what? I don't give a shit. She's like, I'm out of here. And she's like, she's bad cop and disconnected mom cop all in.
Yeah.
All in one.
Thanks. Yeah, if you could read the first one out loud to me.
Sure. I have the right to remain silent.
You understand that? Okay. You can read the rest of these to yourself. And after you're done, just put your initials if you understand them.
In a comedy skit, what he would do is he would take out one of those big cassette players they used to have in elementary school, and he'd put it on the thing, and he'd hit play, and a gruff cop, maybe JJ Bittenbinder, would be like, "Hi, I'm JJ Bittenbinder. Read the first thing on that paper aloud." And then there'd be 30 seconds of silence, right? And he's like, "Now read along silently as I read them aloud."
Yes.
Fucking hilarious. At the sound of the chime, turn the paper over. Bring. I can't be a very death bird.
Get questions about any of them, just let me know.
I've yet to hear anyone ask a question to this day. But the reason why they throw that in is filler. It's so reading you your rights is definitely a nail they're hammering into your coffin.
Yeah.
But they wrap so much cotton around the hammer, you don't hear the banging. So they go, oh, it's formalities, it's paperwork. Can you read? Haha, that's a question we got to ask everybody. Oh boy, oh boy. So anyway, now that you don't want a lawyer, what's the... Michael Bailey is insane.
Yeah.
And he showed up, not that we need to keep talking about Michael Bailey, but he showed up to his interrogation, like, voluntarily.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm here to answer some questions. And he's like, I covered my tracks by bringing the other car that I didn't whip my cock and balls out in. Master of disguise, Michael Bailey. Local hero.
Mm-hmm.
Bullhead's patron saint, Michael Bailey. I love his interrogating detective, though. She was a ball buster.
Yeah.
And the guy in the suit and tie is like the uptight, happy, good cop.
He was like the new cop on the beat, and she's like 3 days before retirement.
His whole thing was to be like, well, you know, there was some incidents, and we had to call you in to tie up some loose ends.
She's like, your dick was out, man.
And she's like, your dick and balls, Michael! The balls! A little girl saw your penis out of your shorts in the frozen food aisle. I can't take this anymore. I wanted, the only thing that would make that footage more perfect is if, like, she pulled the lid off of her Circle K coffee and like splashed his ass with half a cup of hazelnut dark roast.
Yeah, don't waste the whole thing, just some of it.
Well, no, because she already drank half of it. She was lugging that shit. She's giving him the dregs. That's like lukewarm, room temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Splash! And he's like, ah.
How old are you?
My dick and balls.
32.
I'm 32.
Where were you born?
Queens.
Queens, not Jersey.
Queens.
Your
Okay.
birthday?
Yeah.
8/16/83.
He gives that real New Yorker energy.
Oh my God, he's
How far did you go to school?
8/16/83. He's almost has the same birthday as you.
Past college.
Almost. That's why we're so
Four-year
close.
degree, more than that?
Yeah, four-year degree.
Your ability to read is good?
I think
It's
so,
good?
yes.
Ability to write is good?
I think so.
I think so. Have you read my short stories? Let me get you my blog.
So now that you've read all this and you understand it, you're willing to talk to me about, we can talk about what happened today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
All right.
It's just a big misunderstanding.
absolutely.
The whole
Is
thing.
this-
The male cop actually got the full
Right,
confession. Yeah.
Right, but it was, he would not have gotten it without ball breaker Betty. What I'm gonna call her. Like if because let's keep talking about Michael Bailey. But you saw that footage. If that nice detective had just been in that room alone, Michael Bailey would have turned that hour and a half into 6 hours with dancing around. We needed her to be like, God damn it, your balls.
It is. Yep.
He did get the
Yep.
thing, but
It's
she
your
was
it's-
the
TV show? Or
No,
is
it's
this
for, it's,
you
it's
guys?
for,
ball breaker
so,
Betty.
you know, one, so I can go back and kind of look and make
course.
sure, you know,
Right.
get
I just
everything
wanted-
correct.
Well, yeah.
And it's also protection for both of us.
Right, what's-
So
what's going
they can't
on?
say down the
Did
line.
he
at all,
actually bring
you never
weed
said
with
that.
him?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't recall.
I know he told Chris Hansen he didn't blaze. Or
Yeah,
bring
I don't
anything
know
to
what they
blaze,
found in his
but-
car or whatever. I know all of the original TCAP alum who brought weed, but I don't. Again, the new school predators, I am completely in the dark about, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Jag
my goal
off.
here, and should be your goal here, is the truth
Right.
about all this.
Right.
David
Obviously,
Triolo.
we know.
It's so funny. Like, I don't know, a nondescript middle of American asshole or like solid person, like they can occupy two places. Like a middle of America, like a nondescript. I would consider myself not to have a regional dialect. So someone like me at a 10 asshole wise or a 10 saint wise, like that happens all the time everywhere. I feel like New Yorkers can just take a 10 that's everywhere else and with that New York attitude crank it to past 11. Because I like, 11, this one goes to 11 is such a crazy hilarious meme, but like there are some things where the scale just feels inadequate and Mike Manzi just doesn't feel scalable.
Kind of what happened. Mm-hmm. But we want to get into a little bit of you and
just a little bit of you.
What your thoughts were about this. And,
your hobbies, your likes, your hopes,
figure it all out.
your dreams.
All right. Mm-hmm. So let's go back to like the very beginning.
He looks like, if you would to remove the darkness around his eyes, he kind of looks like Slender Man here. It's fucking terrible footage.
How did all this start?
Well, you're just talking online, really. I mean, there's.
Yeah, isn't it insane? Like, but God knows when this camera was bought. Like, this has been installed in the Fairfield, Connecticut police station probably in like the 90s. You know,
at least, yeah.
like, there's probably a pinhole or like whatever the size of the lens needs to be, and like behind that is one of those big bazooka cameras from Chris Hansen's era, except it's one of those old VHS, like it's an RCA, like not even prosumer. It's like a consumer using actual full-size VHS tapes still.
Just talking
online.
Random people, and you know, I've been going through a lot of things recently, and
A 13-year-old can console me.
seeing
How many times have we heard that exact phrase and or paraphrases of it? Like, whenever these dudes get caught, or this is just true for true crime in general, anytime someone gets caught, it's always like, you know what? It's just the worst time of the month. Like, all my bills and my this and my that and my garbage disposal broke, and there's a like, yeah, life sucks sometimes. Like, it will not stop. Life is always there. So to point at yours and be like, but mine's like extra hard because, you know, I'm Mike Manzi. Good night, Kayla. Thanks for showing.
Just picture me naked and come on in.
trying to work out issues.
Who was that for? Just picture me naked and come on in. Who was hanging outside and needed that extra bump? Was it Edgar?
Typing square.
Typing square. Help!
God, he
Yeah, it
looks
was
like
Edgar.
David
It was
Ross.
Edgar. He goes, I'm just hanging out. And he's got those fucking douchey 90s Oakley rip-off. Yeah, Corey Edgar. And he goes, I'm just thinking about it. Just picture me naked and come on in. Like fucking stink bait to a largemouth bass. Fat ass bass, more like.
No, single. But I've been,
Single. Can you believe Mike Manzi's single?
Man.
known for
believe
some
such a
rough
catch.
patches, and
It's like an 11.
I'm looking for an outlet to be able to like try and speak to people,
Sure.
or just talk, and that's where I was. Just the app was kind of giving me.
Now, what
outlet
app
to
were you
kind of-
using for this?
I guess Whisper was this.
So, full disclosure, I want to give you a little context because when Whisper comes up a lot in the new school, or we'll call it mid-century Hansen stuff, if you want to count the True Blue stuff as a new era. But when this was popping, and then later I went on to these apps just to see how depraved they were, because this is before I was really awakened to the degeneracy of the internet and like all the weird Discord and subreddit and all that shit. And I was like, okay, how bad or disgusting is Whisper? And like making a genuine connection with literally anybody on Whisper was impossible for me.
I think I also downloaded that too, and it was weird.
Yeah, it's like this weird, like the fact that, I don't know, because I was legitimately not for perverted means, but I was using that app to try and make a genuine personal connection with literally anyone as a proof of concept to myself to see if this was plausible. And since I'm not a predator, I guess it didn't work because I just acted like a normal human. I got a couple of interactions here or there, and then it was just nothing.
Yeah.
So Whisper works where it's kind of like Twitter, but all anonymous, where you can put some text and you can pick like a cutesy background or whatever, and then anyone can react to it anonymously.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it is like any other message board, but everybody's always anonymous unless like you want to get connected with people.
When I like,
it's so esoteric.
Yeah. When I did it, a lot of it kind of seemed like early days of chat also, because it was like girls or women that were like, oh, and they did like the ASL kind of thing, and they're like, oh, in whatever, because I did local obviously, and it was like in whatever town.
That
like,
did jog a memory that there were a fuck ton of perverted posts.
Yeah.
They're
Oh
like
yeah.
Genres of
one
like
night stand posts,
DTF or whatever, and it's so wild because like on Twitter, or any other like Snapchat or whatever, you can send a picture of yourself. But on Whisper, it just felt like everybody was anonymous. And so just putting text out, no pictures aside from backgrounds of like Converse shoes or the mountains or some clouds or
like
some other
stock
small
images.
shit.
It was weird. It was really weird.
To tie this sort of back in, the same guy I worked in Bullhead City with, my partner at the electrical company, used Plenty of Fish nonstop to bang skags all over the state.
Yep.
And it just felt like that app must have just been like, first come, first serve. It's a buffet.
There's plenty of fish.
Right. And so with stuff like Whisper or the old Kick or Snapchat or stuff, it feels like you have to. But if you're going to do gross shit, I guess you have to make your methods obscure as possible. Like nobody, unless you're that fucking idiot who killed his wife and then Googled the cleanup plan in real time.
Nice.
What a whatever. I diverged too much.
That I was talking,
Yeah. Are there others?
Oh, there's.
I know there's. I know obviously there's.
Well, I mean, there's Whisper. There's. I guess the other ones are. There's Scout. There's. I guess just basically that.
Are there dating sites?
Well, some of them are. Some Whisper is not a dating site per se, and neither.
Which is another
DTF
layer,
there, though.
But that's another layer of creepy, right? Like in Yahoo chat rooms where anything went and it was all just sex talk, whatever. Like maybe that's just the modern day interpretation. But now where dedicated rooms and places exist for free, the general chat rooms hypothetically should not be a place to go sticking your dick in and seeing what bites. Because now you can let your freak flag fly. There are dating sites for every religion, every sexual perversion, every proclivity. And if you were willing to dig hard enough back in, whatever, was this 2006 or something? Or no, it was later, 2015 or something? I don't know. It was latter day. Like, this wasn't combing through mountains of text in like seedy back chat rooms to find someone who you could connect with. Like, we're at the part where you can be as gross as you want, and there's a chat room for it somewhere.
Yeah. Matt says, kill your wife and Google how to dispose of the body, but you forget the Wi-Fi password. Only wife. The wife is the only one who knows.
Yeah, so then you have to like get her phone and use her dead thumb to unlock her Apple password.
A Scout might
True
be
crime is
more
fucked.
along the lines of a dating site. Yeah, stuff like that.
Scout, okay.
There's things like.
I don't know what Scout is, but just like thinking of the name of Scout and this person and Manzi makes me think it's people scouting for younger people. Like it makes like in my
yeah,
but it could just be a dating site.
Well, that's the thing. You're getting out of context. Like any name you throw into a pot that Mike Manzi has been stewing in for a while is going to come out with a flavor of gross.
Oh yeah,
Chat or
even if it's just for a second.
Or Instagram.
I've used them in the past.
Right.
I'm not.
Facebook, like Facebook Messenger or something.
Well, yes, but that's like between friends and stuff. So. Yeah.
Not 13-year-olds.
Yeah, not possible sexual exploitation.
No, that's for Whisper.
So tell me how it works.
Because I think Dupay used Whisper also, if I'm not. I don't know. Yeah, totally. The AOL side of things was behind a paywall to me. Like my buddy had an AOL account, like an AOL account was still a thing. By the time I was popping, it was a Yahoo chat room because those are free as shit.
People
but I did have AIM.
things on there, and if
I just didn't go into their chat rooms because I was like, man,
what you have to say or
Yahoo's got all the perversion I need.
or whatever, then you answer it.
Is it like you create a profile?
No. It's all anonymous. People just post things up online, and that's that.
Which is fucking crazy, because the old school predators, they were getting catfished by like pictures of people. Where all like Whisper is like so low effort.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure once they got to texting and emailing, they started exchanging pictures. But like for trolling, like if you're law enforcement and you don't even have to make up a profile, you just have to say you're something.
Yeah, and it's like the perfect thing for murdering people. Like,
Well,
there were people that I saw that were like, oh, who wants to get together for some 420? And I'm like,
well,
you don't know what you're getting.
Right, but right, that's the thing. You don't know what you're getting. However, not every aspect of life is, Dupe used whisper. Thank you, Insanity Pepper. Not every aspect of life is doom and gloom. By and large, and it's only because we're into true crime, it feels like you have a 50% chance of being murdered by someone you see as at least a friendly acquaintance at some point in your life. But that's the thing. People are meeting all the time and murders happen so seldom.
Yeah.
Like true crimes happen so seldom. It's a non-issue for most of the public. It's just something that happens to a sliver of the living population and that sick sect of us that like to look at it.
Yeah, but still, like, I understand, like, wanting to, like, you, in order to make friends, you have to meet
Well, I'm
people.
not saying
like
don't dot your I's and cross your Q's or however that statement goes. It's just by and large, you'd have to be intensely stupid, Mike Manzi levels of stupid, to get caught in a situation like Manzi is, or the opposite of that coin where you're being murdered. You have to ignore so many red flags that you might as well be culled already.
Is it regional?
I guess so.
Okay. Again, because I've
Just
never
a regional
I've never
whisper?
actually even seen it. I didn't hear about it.
It could be.
So you just post something on like a board or a site.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
God damn it, I got to stop it again. But something these latter day or mid-century predator stings taught me is like, I now have a newfound empathy for the old school detectives who are like, what's this Yahoo chat room? Because like, oh, you fucking crazy old farts. Like, well, that's water, bitch. Everybody knows that. But then these the newer batch comes in, they're like, it's just a bunch of gibberish that sounds like Greek. And I now have to apologize to like John Dudinsky and Catherine What's-Her-Face and, Gore Johnson.
people look at it. You put your picture up there, that kind of stuff.
I mean, you could if you really want to.
If you really wanted to.
All right, so tell me about how you started meeting with chatting with.
I remember just chatting with her, really.
What's her name?
I really don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
Really?
So I'm going to take a poll really quick. Does it make you look better or worse not to have committed the child's name to memory you came to have inappropriate relations with? Better or worse to not remember that child's name?
Not this moment. I might remember it during our conversation.
Yeah, if you do, just
considering
throw
all
it
the
out,
stuff
doesn't-
that's coming
So,
to me right now.
about how long ago do you think you started chatting?
Are they gonna say what his like initial post was or anything like that? Like, how did
They'll. That's what I'm saying. But I said it earlier and I'll say it again. His chat log is a nothing burger.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I know we all live for the explicit, but his chat is very implicit and it's not as salacious, but you've got to better for So yeah, consensus is worse, and I agree.
Yeah.
Today's October 4th, I think.
Well, today's Sunday, right?
Sunday.
So probably Thursday. Thursday or Friday.
That's the first time you had any contact with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's like a reverse bell curve in this situation. I rate movies on a scale of 1 to 10, but 5 is the highest. No. 1 or 10 is the highest. You can be a 1 or a 10. 5 is the lowest. 5 is shit.
Yes.
I forget why I started to tell that story.
He's
Like,
a bell
screwed it
curve.
up. Oh yeah, it's bell curve. So like where you see a big spike in the middle usually of like average human performance, where like we have got very few low achievers and very few high achievers. Mike Manzi's entire life graph seems to be the inverse of that. If that makes sense, you know what I'm talking about. But like where most you would expect like, oh, okay, that's a normal experience. Mike's like, yeah, he's like a bizarro person. All of his colors are backwards.
And how did it start? How
She had a posting up on
Think
there
about showing up to a
wanting
first date with a woman you
people wanting to
interacted
come
with
to
online long enough for you to say, "Oh my God, you're my soulmate," and then you show up and have no idea what she said her name was. Yeah, imagine if you forgot my name on
And
our
then-
first date.
I mean, he definitely didn't forget that he was going to Blaze. Maybe
She said something about
Are you Blaze?
chilling in Netflix, and
Well, Netflix and chill.
that
I'm
they should be
13.
bringing food and and I guess marijuana.
She said something about
Yeah.
chilling and
Is what her
Netflix.
post had said.
And
So,
marijuana.
It
Hilarious.
didn't say anything about anybody's age or
Right,
anything
right,
else
right.
whatsoever. You know.
So you guys started chatting.
We just started chatting that way, you know, and then like
Just that way.
throughout the conversation, later on throughout the conversation, you know, obviously it come out how old she was.
Yeah.
But our conversation, we were just chatting the entire time until then.
Remember what kind of topics you guys were talking about?
So that's what he just said there is a perfect example of nothing. Because he said, you know, during our conversation, there was chat, but other than that, there was nothing. Now, imagine a conversation where chatting doesn't take place. There's not an interchange of dialogue.
Then nothing. There's nothing.
It's just a longer version of it is what it is. I don't like when people say that. I don't like when people, and I do it a fair amount too, so my hypocrisy is showing, but I'm trying not to. When you go, well, you know, it is what it is. You've conveyed, it's like saying this statement is a lie. You've conveyed zero information. You've wasted a little time. And I'm not sure what you're trying to get out of it, because it's not like this is a casual conversation where it's like, oh, what are we talking about? Yeah, I'll take a large Dunkachino. No, we're in a fucking interrogation room, Mike.
We spoke about food. We spoke about
Yeah.
food. We spoke about
Some sort.
hanging out.
Hanging out.
Netflix and chilling.
And watching TV. And that was mostly it.
Mostly.
We didn't speak about any kind of like sexual things or whatsoever. Which is, you know, this is a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, obviously.
Obviously.
Maybe obviously, maybe not obviously. You know.
Obviously,
Maybe
it wasn't.
obviously, maybe not obviously, maybe it was obvious, maybe it wasn't obvious. Obviously, it maybe not have been obvious.
Does he
So-
was a math teacher for like what grade? Do you know?
He was a math tutor, not a teacher. He was a freelance math tutor.
Oh, so it could be various ages.
So if we're talking about like as a hilarious analogy on a scale of like political power, right? Whereas like a teacher would be the president, he's like someone teaching another person how to use a crack pipe for the first time. Sure, they're both imparting knowledge, right? The teacher, the man teaching the other man how to use the crack pipe. They're both imparting knowledge. But something's off about that second one.
But that was the bulk of what we
Horrible.
What we spoke about.
Horrible.
Horrible.
And just hanging out.
Pretty much.
watching TV and stuff.
Pretty much.
What did you think when she said she was 13?
I thought, I
I
hope
mean,
my
at
uncle doesn't
first,
hear
uh,
about this.
You know, I was a little alarmed that
13?
you know, of the age, you know,
I don't know which is supposed
but
to.
with
All of them.
you know, if I really felt like there was definitely a position that she was putting herself in.
To A to Z, your teacher comments, I just came to get something to eat.
Wasn't going to be a good one.
Yeah.
You know, depending who, you know, she could have been talking to somebody else who wasn't like me, you know, and they might have tried to do something else to her or tried to act in a certain way, you know.
So the defenses that come up in latter day Predator is like, I guess it happens a little bit so yeah, it's just human nature, I guess. But it's like, this always comes up is like, what if this type of conversation were happening with someone who's not behind my eyes? And I swear I wasn't going to do anything. But what if, officer, I needed to be there because you can't trust these kids? What if she's talking sexually to other people who don't have pure intention? I mean, sure, we're talking about Downward Dog and I'm implying a bunch of shit, But what if she's applying a bunch of shit to, like, that Sokol character, for instance?
To
Sassy
really harm her or
Sokol.
to have
That
more of
sassy
a
bitch.
sexual intent to go in
with her.
with her. Yeah.
We
yeah,
have
yeah.
seen, I have heard the
So-
word
so at
intent
what
or
point-
not my
so you-
intention by these people so many times. It just drives me insane.
Because
Like, I can take it listening to somebody who murdered somebody because, like, it's, or, you know, is defending themselves and they didn't do it. But, like, knowing these people were going for
Right.
that and there's evidence. And,
the concept of intent and truth and all these things are very nebulous. But since they have been adopted into the legal nomenclature, that's what we've got, is like any numbnuts who's seen any SVU, any CSI or whatever can drop these terms because, like, yeah, it kind of makes sense in situ. But here's the thing you also forget is, like, while you're learning the meaning of intent for your own benefit, you're forgetting the concept of evidence that the police use against you.
right.
So if you say, officer, it wasn't my intent to stick my tongue in somebody's butt, and they go, hold that thought. Is this your text log talking about sticking a tongue in a butt? And they go, fuck, I guess you got me, but I didn't intend to.
Right. It's just the internet.
Yeah, you can't. Everybody wants to be a Jeff Stacy, but no one wants to be stupid enough to be a Jeff Stacy.
R.I.P.
She told you she was 13.
Rip.
And you continued
Well, we did continue talking. Yes, we did. We did continue talking.
about
Yep.
the same type of things. Just
Basically, yes.
food, weed,
Basically.
chilling.
I think you have.
Yeah, I have
probably.
some.
So you can see it, you know.
Um,
We never discussed doing anything
Except
sexual
downward
to
dog,
each other.
apparently.
We never discussed
He'll get to it.
making advancements towards each other like that. I mean,
I read through them.
yeah, go ahead.
There's no.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I already did.
There was
Go ahead. Go ahead. Read my sexy chat with a 13-year-old. Go ahead.
Randall.
Go ahead.
explicit sex talk. You threw a couple pieces of bait out there for her to see if she'd bite at it.
Well, not necessarily.
The cherry on the top of the Mike Manzi Sunday would be a Sokol Where's Waldo hat.
If you want, you can pull it out, and I would like to look at it.
Yeah,
Gross.
But definitely
Pull it out.
There was no, again,
came in the
straight
chat.
sex talk.
Yeah, I mean, we're just talking here too.
So,
I think we're just talking.
I
Yeah,
think
we are.
I
It's
think
still-
we were just talking.
You're still under arrest, though.
and
Thanks.
that's good. I'm glad. That's just,
Yeah.
I'm very glad. Thanks, Mike.
For us to kind of get this out.
Yeah, I mean,
Because right now we have Mike, a 32-year-old from Stanford, or
Uh-huh.
New York.
Harrison, yeah.
Yeah,
who comes
yeah.
to Fairfield to meet a 13-year-old girl.
Right.
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 It's a problem.
Right.
So that's what.
It's a
Okay.
problem.
Here's the thing. I hear the word right so many times. I watch a lot of interrogation footage, TCAP and beyond. And when the detectives are laying out their case and they are saying, here's what you did. You did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. It's human nature to fill a pause in a conversation. And 9 times out of 10, they fill that pause with right, which is the worst thing you can say if you don't want to go to jail. So if they say, like with, take Russell Williams, the Canadian colonel. There you go. Your boots walked up to her house. Right. Your tires drove around the back of her house. Right. Your flashlight beat the woman to death. Right. I'm obviously not getting all the details.
That's a
right.
confession.
But that's the thing. Like, everybody does it. I feel like Sokol does it. Everybody who we've got an interrogation footage of, when the detectives go boom, 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 and they lay out their bullet points, Microsoft Excel spreadsheet of bullshit that they've got on you, after each bullet point, like if it's text to speech, he goes doot doot, and he goes subheading A, and he goes right. Just shut up. Just let them. If you're seriously invested in your ass not going to jail, don't say the word right unless they ask you what handed you are.
I need to kind of get this. So, just top of my head, without digging through all these, she mentioned that she cracked her back and she does yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you remember what you said?
Here we go.
No, but you can.
How's your downward dog?
Well, okay, yeah, but that's a yoga move still. But
It is, but
yeah,
like, come on.
I mean,
I'm a guy, you're a guy. I get it.
I'm a guy, you're a guy. We
Right,
know what downward dog
right.
is.
I mean, even someone completely disconnected from the idea of Hatha yoga, which is the physical exercise of yoga, knows that the downward dog exists.
Yeah.
Like, even if you've never heard of yoga, I'm sure you've heard of the phrase downward dog and that it is exactly what you think it is.
Yeah. Right.
We boys. We boys. You and me, we're men. We know when people get in the downward dog position, it presents their posterior, the genitalia, if you will. We're both men. We like to have our genitalia enclosed in other types of genitalia. Complementary types, if you will. We're men here. Both have testicles.
Your
Ideally.
downward dog, LOL.
Allegedly.
So, I mean,
LOL.
how old are you?
How's your
32.
downward dog?
I've been doing this
LOL.
for 30 years. I'm almost as long as you've been alive. I know. I text people.
Asking how the
I
downward
know.
dog is.
Right. Throwing it out there a little bit. See what she says. She didn't bite at it.
Well,
Whether,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you.
Did it feel like when he was like, because a natural reaction if you're not a creep would be like, she didn't bite at it. You'd go like, bite at what? But Mike Manzi took it personally. He's like, she didn't bite at it. And he goes, yeah. He's like, yeah, my game is trash.
Look
Sorry.
at how the detective's hand is, by the way.
Huh.
Why?
Your game is trash. Forget about it, Manzi. Just fucking 13-year-olds don't know how to spit game, apparently.
But his fingers are like this.
I read all these.
Some people do
there's,
that.
Yeah, there's
weird.
pages.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And most of it is, just.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
weed, chilling.
That's what I said.
Also, by
kinda-
the way, sweatshirt and shorts.
It's cold. It's October.
He's in shorts.
Right, but people from back east are fucking crazy and will wear shorts when it's fucking a blizzard out. And the fact that you're like, no, or not like, no, means that it's true.
Once in a while, you throw a little bait out. You throw a
Yeah,
little.
but there's. I get.
You know what
I
I'm
get
saying?
where
My
you're trying
game
to
is
go with
shit.
this,
I get it,
but
detective.
Regardless, like I know what the conversation mainly was. I mean,
Mainly.
and you do too.
Absolutely.
So
That was just like, hey, detective, think of it like this. People love me for my analogy, so think of it like this. If you're squeezing out the toothpaste of this conversation, right, and it's mostly white, but it's got that beautiful strip of red cinnamon right through the middle, that was the sex. It was mostly the toothpaste, but there was that little ribbon of red sex talk that made it a little spicy.
This
So
weather
you're
is
not
horrible.
absolutely- you're not
Horrible.
disagreeing with me.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Fucking yeah, his shoulder, like his in the earlier, I think we missed it, but in the beginning of the interrogation, he comes in without his jacket or his hoodie.
Well, he took his sweatshirt off.
Yeah, because of the
The MIT shirt.
because of the mugshot, he had to take the
Yeah,
thing off. So he
pictures.
goes, "Oh, it's so cold in here," so he put it back on.
Just
So
make,
what?
but sure, but
But are you disagreeing with me that you
I'm-
kind of threw a little like, hey,
I'm disagreeing the
In a horrible
intent
way.
that you're trying to. You might be feeling like I was trying to get from it. You
right,
know,
to see
and-
if she would say, would you like to see it or anything like that.
Wow.
Do you
I
want to
mean,
see
I
my
can't-
downward dog?
That's not where the conversation was going, nor intended to go anywhere. because-
Bullshit.
Which is not what I said.
Was that the only
Well,
like
all right.
quote unquote alleged
so-
sexual thing he said?
You talked to her for a couple weeks,
No,
No.
a couple days.
a couple days,
Just a couple days.
then you.
But here's the thing. All implication, like, because that language is inherently flawed. So it is easy for a third person to come into a situation where, person 1 and 2 are interacting, or it's even possible that person 1 and 2 have a miscommunication because language is inherently fallible.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that, like, He showed up. The language, sure, we could say, well, all language is fallible. It's impossible to describe literally anything accurately to anybody else. Actions are beyond all words. Write a book about finding a 13-year-old online. Unless you show up to the place, your actions have not... I mean, obviously talking to a child is against the law because that's what most of these people get clipped for is the intent. But that's just it. The moral of the story is like what seals the nail in the intent coffin, because we've seen this on a million SVU episodes where like, some straw man character writes a bunch of, freedom of speech bullshit that involves this, that, or the other. But when you put your money where your mouth is, we go, aha!
Gotcha.
That's the time when you can turn imagination into realities if you fucking show up.
Yeah.
Like, we can plan to meet at a Dunkin' Donuts if I never intend to meet you. It's just a cruel joke.
Well, how do we get to today?
Seriously.
Well, we get to today because she had been talking about trying to meet up and hang out. And I had agreed, I believe. And I was quite hesitant about it.
I could have disagreed, but I showed up anyway.
And about her coming to, coming to Stanford or coming up to see me.
Because 13-year-olds, they could drive anyway.
She also said she could do.
I took the train to Stanford every day.
So basically,
as a 13-year-old?
No, but that's a way she could have taken it.
We discussed it, and that was basically where we went.
When you made plans to come up.
Well, I made plans to try and come up here and just
snoop around her house, ask if everybody is left, see if it was safe.
Well, I was coming over here. All I knew there was a 13-year-old girl. I did not know. I didn't even know if she was 13. She said she was 13. How do you know if she's 13? How do you know if I'm 32? Other than my age.
Right.
I think I said this earlier. You showed the fuck up, right? Like Spock, and Kirk fucking each other. That's fan fiction. If they got together in real life, you go, oh, whoa, there was intent. I realize that's a little different. When there's a child as a decoy or whatever, like the mere act of bringing up this stuff is the crime. But that's the thing. Manzi, I think, skirted a lot of that shit. But like if one day, and Leonard Nimoy is gone, God rest his soul, but if one day Leonard Nimoy and Kirk were like, you know what?
Let's
do it. Then you're like, oh, you know what? We actually wrote a lot of that shit. Then you'd be like, oh, there was intent there. But until then, like that's where a lot of weirdos live. Is in the realm of fantasy. People may or may not be familiar with my disdain for furries. As long as you're living in the world of fantasy, it's like, okay, whatever.
Right.
But you make some sort of contact with an animal in an inappropriate way. It's not like... Like there are crimes like this where like somebody was ambushed, right? It was in a dark alley and someone jumps out and says, give me your money. There's a struggle and you kill your attacker. Crime of passion. You go, well, nothing was there. Because when you ask the person, they go, I was afraid. I had no idea. I don't have a live journal, an IRL journal. I don't have a long history of wanting to be attacked in a dark alley and killing my attacker. Because then you can go like, well, what's up with that? But this was a crime of opportunity.
Allison Marie Spanish says, FFOP, are you one of those weirdos?
Am I one of those weirdos? I don't think so. That's the thing. It's like...
I don't think so.
I was thinking about this on the ride home. It's funny that you bring that up. It's a hard-hitting question. I'm glad to answer it. Because I thought on my ride home, I was pontificating and I thought, ugh. Because I was thinking about Manzi and the gross shit. And I was like, you know what? What? Am I one of those weirdos? Because I bring up furries because I was like, well, let's do a little soul searching and see what the allegory is. Because here's the classic example. The very stringent political figure who's like, gay is wrong. Everything outside of missionary sex between a man and a woman is an abomination. You come to find out that they're like Hellraiser levels of perversion. And I go, oh, fuck. Do I want to keep raising my picket sign of like furries are gross and risk the like, well, he doth protest too much? And they go, oh, fuck. And I just don't want to end up one day being like having to prove myself where I do a walking tour of the house where I go through every room proving there's no furry suits that are just like crusty in a lot of areas. I swear to you.
But like I've been
I swear.
I can attest to that.
This way because
for what it's
I
worth.
wanted to see what was going on, and obviously I did find out what was going on.
I did find out what's going on.
To go to
My plan.
Number one, it wasn't safe. Number two, there were a bunch of guys there. And number three, I should have stopped it too.
My plan strictly were just going to be hanging out. That was it. That was my only plan. That was the end of it. I had no other.
I was hoping for red velvet. That motherfucker Cologne got him. Fuck you.
With this girl whatsoever, because, like you said, and I said before, she was young. She's 13, so.
So that's okay. To put on my serious hat for a moment. Like I said, or as I said before, any phrase like that is a phrase that we will pepper onto something that we want to make more believable. There are two things you can do. Repetition of that phrase or referring to the repetition to add the extra zest, I guess. Because if we learn through repetition, and if somebody is saying something to you and you're not the kind to go out and do the proactive, or like if it's information that doesn't fucking matter one way or another, if it's repeated to you, boom, it's a memory. Now it's knowledge and you consider it truth. The way you can add the frosting on that is like this little bitch did and go, like I said before, or like you said earlier, or like we blah, blah, blah. It doesn't change reality, though. It's like straight up gaslighting, but it feels real, doesn't it? When you go, oh, you and I both said this. What?
That's not the type of person I am. So.
Did you understand the repercussions of potentially
He's a conscious type person.
hanging out with a 13-year-old?
Well, no, actually, I did not. I didn't realize that just by the act of you going to hang out with somebody who was under a certain age would actually get you in
Why would you do it in the first place?
That's the thing. It's like
we talked about this with Sokol. Who wants to hang out with a teenager?
I don't so there aren't many crimes. No, there are. There's attempted for literally everything. Like attempted kidnapping, attempted robbery, attempted murder. These are all crimes. So when the person, and they all say this, they say, I didn't know that attempting a crime was a crime. What? Like,
you never heard of attempted murder?
That's the thing. And maybe it's that the idea of intent that makes it wishy-washy. Because, like, there are crimes where, like, attempt to or intent to doesn't apply. And that's a majority, possibly, because they can't get, like, attempt to speed or attempt to embezzle. Or they have attempted conspiracy, but then there's, like, plans and stuff. There's something in the works.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what makes this
Sokol defense.
Weird tapestry. Yeah, it is a fucking Sokol defense.
So I did not know that.
No conscious type person.
It did cross my mind for a moment, but I didn't think that I actually could get in trouble going and hang out with her. I mean, I did say to her, obviously a couple times, like that might, I might be able to, I might have trouble if that was, if I did go, but I'm not.
Obviously.
No matter how hard I try, because that's what we all do. We try to understand other humans by putting ourselves in their position and going, what would I do? And I remember all of my online interactions, meeting people from online, and I go, okay, thought experiment time. What if that person was young, too young, way too young, Mike Manzi too young? And I go, what would I do? And I can't even get past, like, the clicking of the X in the top right-hand corner of the chat square as soon as I read those letters.
Right.
Letters, numbers, or if she types it out with letters. As soon as I see that, click. But I don't even have a frame of reference, because when I was online, no one ever claimed to be underage. I was looking for anybody underage. So it's like asking like a fine French chef how he makes street tacos. It's like, I don't understand the question.
Yeah, well, you're cute and cool too. I know I could get in trouble for even talking to you.
Oh, there you go.
So,
Then
I knew there was.
Then I must have said.
But
must
I'm
have
still
been-
going to
yeah,
come over when your parents aren't home.
Some issue, but I really didn't think that I could go and get in trouble 100% going to hang out with.
100%. I
Maybe
figured I'd
85.
get like 60% penalty.
Someone who's
A
underage.
13-year-old
Just
girl,
hanging-
knowing
well,
that
not-
their parents aren't home.
Well, if I'm not doing anything that's, number one, anything that's sexual, or two, trying to
You're still an adult stranger.
do anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we can consider grooming a repulsive act, but since it's so nebulous, there's no crime for grooming, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can be a groomer online, you can do these actions and amass a bunch of gross activity around you, which you can later be prosecuted for potentially. But the act of grooming is so nebulous. We'll say, well, you were being provocative. And that's it. Like, because obviously Manzi is the one area of life where he shows a deft hand is with his manipulation, because this grooming wasn't overt. And those are the best groomers. The ones that come out at the end of their life, or the ones that did it for 25 years, do it this way.
Yeah.
They do the slow method of the frog in the boiler. And so by the time, or like Larry Nassar, look at his fucking skeezy ass. Decades. Because you start slow, you move slow, you find out what works, and you exploit the fuck out of your disgusting habit. Manzi obviously was in the midst of that cultivation. Hopefully he stopped. But, that's the thing. The slow approach, the soft approach works a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody's going to be like a Jeff Stacy or whoever, where you just come in with a fucking sledgehammer into a slaughterhouse, hitting cows on the head. Sometimes you got to slide through with a little stiletto.
Along those lines,
Right.
People do this all the time, where they go meet up in the mall and go hang out, and they're out in
Mall.
public.
Yeah, well, you're going to somebody's
public.
house.
What's the big difference?
The big difference is 32 and 13. That's
Right. 32. Okay, so yeah, two 25-year-olds meeting in a mall versus a 32-year-old and a 13-year-old meeting in a private residence when the parents are away. I see no difference.
Yeah, it's all the same shit.
I understand.
You get
the
that?
age. I
You get the
understand-
difference?
No, I do. I understand.
Oh,
the
okay,
age
yeah, I do.
difference.
Sorry.
It's important that you understand that.
I do. I understand the age difference, and
Right.
and that's why I really was not intending on doing anything with this girl, because she was young, and like I said, if she had met somebody else who maybe didn't have those intentions, or did have further intentions, worse.
Here's the thing, really quick, a diversion. Whenever intentions or the concept thereof is brought up, my mind every time harkens back to a Tales from the Dark Side, where David Hyde Pierce is this psychologist stroke scientist. The details are lost in time. I don't remember. He creates this. God damn it. And now I'm going to butcher it. But it felt like to me that he made this technology where you put a criminal in and it would fuck with their heads, and then it would, like, through subjective time in like a dream state. It's kind of like when Bender was reprogrammed with that upgrade and had that whole adventure in his head. You would go through an entire lifetime of rehabilitation and pop out totally rehabilitated, but 30 seconds IRL time later, and you're still, able to be a member of society, which I thought was a brilliant concept. The twist of it at the end was like, if you weren't really guilty of a crime, it killed you 10 times out of 10.
Good.
So when they put you into this thing, and the thing of it was like the shit goes crazy. David Hyde Pierce, who's the main character, gets accused of a crime, goes to jail, is brutalized for many years. And it turns out it was an occurrence at Owl Creek where he was in the chair. Like he had fallen into it or something, some zany instance where he had fallen into the mind control chair that was supposed to rehabilitate you that would 100% kill you if you did not commit a crime. And he pops out at the end and everybody goes, "You survived?" Cut to credits or whatever.
Huh.
I forget why I started telling that story, but it was a good episode. Oh, intent. He didn't, the criminal, that was the thing. The technology to understand intent will never exist because you'd have to scan the human brain and be able to delineate a fabricated memory versus a real memory. Who knows?
Yeah.
Why did I say all that? I don't know.
Intentions. She could have gotten really in trouble. She could have gotten hurt, perhaps, you know.
So, if I remember right, did you say something when you were at the house that you came there to kind of teach her that you weren't gonna, that this was the wrong thing to do to meet somebody?
Well, I didn't necessarily
I was gonna
say
teach
it
her a
like
thing or
that. I
something.
mean, you're phrasing it a lot better than I had at the moment because I was so like.
You were taken by surprise. Yeah.
Well, yes, you know.
Was that just?
May I ask for a second because of just a little, you know, I know this is an interview, and I know you don't know me, and I don't know you, but you do seem like a nice guy, and I don't know what your impression is.
I don't care if you're on the Maury show or in a police interview. Don't say the equivalent of "you don't know me" and give the fucking Z-snap. It doesn't help literally ever. No matter how eloquently you phrase the "you don't know me" and how deftly you can verbalize the Z-snap, don't. Shut up.
I was gonna make sure she was okay and then give her drugs.
Yeah, are you okay? Cool. Then we blaze.
Let's blaze.
Did you blaze?
You know, of me, yeah. I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
the
I have this.
Well, the paperwork.
Also, I gotta mention this, but if you're familiar with Mr. Gigi and his To Catch a Predator thing, his Predator remixes with Chris Hansen saying "Did you blaze" is one of the funniest things out there.
And me sitting here,
right?
But like, I don't know. I'm just like in a. No, are you? I know you're not.
Are you asking a question?
Be my friend, but you seem like a nice guy. I'm trying to talk to you. I'm not. And that's. I don't want.
What's the point of this?
He's essentially explaining the effect of the read technique. Even though they've used very few techniques from it and it's been a pretty light hand, most of it comes down to the air in which someone carries themselves. A genuine person will come across as a genuine person no matter the context. And so even though I'm sure this dude is brimming with disdain for Mike Manzi, he still recognizes his humanity. And as disconnected as he is, maybe it's simply because he's not being yelled at, like, or beaten like a redheaded stepchild. But since Manzi was pulling the slow burn, he was a slow mover, coined by this show. He does seem to maybe be able to delineate human emotion a little better than your average predator, who's just like, tone deaf is the thing. The only way to describe it is completely tone deaf, bereft of taking a temperature of a room. Like all of their nerve endings are dead and you have to constantly check them for injuries because they can't feel it.
Not like, I got it. I'm sorry.
I have, believe me, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not sitting here judging what you're doing. My job is fact-based. It's
Right. For a long time. The best in the
And I
business,
want to
my
get a
partner
clear
can
picture
vouch
of
for
what
me.
happened and how we got here.
Right.
That's it. I'm not judging you. I'm not, I'm not thinking, what's wrong with you? But, if you say something that, I think we need to clarify, I'm going to clarify it.
Of course.
So,
of course,
so when
of
you
course.
talk about going to the mall to meet somebody.
Really quickly, it sort of ties into the idea of being a blank slate, a tabula rasa. And I think I brought him up before, but Keanu Reeves, he gets a lot of shit for being a plank. Like in all of his roles, he just feels like a stick of wood outside of maybe Bill and Ted. And I don't like giving people shit for that because with a blank slate, you can project. That's why people love Keanu Reeves, even though he gets a lot of shit. You can project on him because harsh or big or aggressive or abrasive or flavorful personalities don't leave a lot of room for you to imprint upon. And so if you look and are in the same space as a person like this detective who is someone you can project on without the idea of, I'm not judging you, I'm just here to be here, it works 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Because when you project, it not only like gets you on their side, but you also, like, as the person projecting on the other person, you go, oh, you've probably done this too. And obviously not. But a deft detective can be like, yeah, we've all made mistakes, and make that feel like it's not just a cliche spit out by your dad reaming your ass after you blew apart the lawnmower or whatever.
I'm just
That's a little
saying,
different.
and I know
That's
that's why,
just- right.
that's why I said
I'm
it,
saying.
because to me, like, that's no different than what just has
Yeah.
has transpired.
I got it.
It almost isn't any different. But go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
had this, let me just put a hypothetical out there. Had this not been what it was with us there and the other people there, and it
Right.
was you and this 13-year-old girl, what do you think would have happened to that?
The impression of deep thought or careful consideration, right? Because this is a serious situation, and his mind's going a mile a minute, and you just want to see him engaged, but being like, Again, you want, fight or flight or freeze or however they want to, however you want to split the reaction of being confronted by an authority figure or whatever. The overeager, like, maybe that's another layer of this too. Mike Manzi feels like a suck up, like a teacher's pet.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't look like Randall Weems, but he's giving Randall Weems energy, and he's transferring that to the detective because he goes, okay, I'm projecting, but he's also a figure of authority, so I've got to lick his ass. Yeah, daddy.
Well, I could only tell you what would have happened on my end.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two,
You can't even say
I would
that,
have gone
Mike.
there, and she said that her mother
Don't
was
go
coming
there.
home today,
Right.
until about 6 o'clock. So I was going to go there. I was going to go hang out, and if her mother ended up coming in, I would have explained to her what was going on. But that besides that would have been
that old yarn comes up a lot too, where it's been said to Chris and it's been said to the cops. It doesn't matter who it's said to, but like the concept of, I just can't imagine, like, in your head being so diluted that having a parent walk into their home, their castle, their domicile, the place where they feel safest, where they keep their children, them seeing your ass and feeling confident enough in your position as whatever diluted authority figure, whatever you've got, that you can talk to a parent walking through a door. So we've got like a generational sandwich. You got a 13-year-old, Mike's 32. The parents are going to be probably 40s, maybe if they were late bloomers in their 50s. And imagine being in the middle of the two generations explaining your existence there, despite the fact that it should not be. It's like if you got an x-ray and they found like a hubcap in your stomach and you go, well, how did that get there? And you go, I don't know, but it's there. The explanation isn't going to make it better. Mike Manzi explaining why he's the hubcap in your gut isn't going to be like, oh, well, whew, cool.
that's all I would have
Were
done.
you guys going to go out to eat or anything? I know you guys talk about food a lot in here.
We did talk a lot about
Food,
but we didn't
blazing.
Get hungry, kind of. Actually,
I
we
wasn't
did.
sure.
Thanks.
I have no idea of
Right.
what was,
You guys talk about weed a lot. You guys
Yeah, we
smoke.
spoke about that a little bit. Yeah.
Where's the plan to smoke and eat?
Real quick, too. I realize weed probably gets a bad rap from its culture. And it's semi-annoying because now that it's basically legal everywhere and everybody who has been using it forever is coming out and it's sort of dispelling that stereotype of like oh dude, like I subscribe to High Times and my vision is always somewhere in 1,000 yards away from anything. Because I grew up with those dudes. And then like now that it's legal, people are coming out of the woodwork and be like, oh, thank God. And I go, you? That culture is so unwarranted. It just feels unfair to the people who, aren't the sort of blasted wastoids, because like a loser is going to be a loser regardless of whether they're inebriated on what you think isn't or isn't bad. Like,
yeah.
Because like that's the thing too. It works for every substance. Like there are functional alcoholics and there are dysfunctional alcoholics. Mm-hmm. They both have the same problem. It's just that one keeps it together long enough to be like, yeah, now I'm going off the deep end.
I mean, I was planning on trying to like I said, being there, make sure things are okay. I would have definitely sat down and ate. I would have hung out, but
definitely would have ate some food.
Right. Do you have any weed on you?
No. No.
I hate it when they fucking do that. When they go, what? And they look down. What are you looking at? Like, to be a bitch, that's why I'm saying it. But really, we would all do that. Like, anytime someone asks you for something that isn't on you, we all make that show.
Pat
We go, what?
pockets.
And you go, you pat places it would never be. Like, you go, I don't know where I put my phone. So I can't get up his ass about that. So, but still, he's a bitch.
So you didn't bring any weed?
I don't have anything at all. They gave me a ticket.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay.
They gave me a ticket for having paraphernalia.
All right. Where was that?
Huh?
Where was the paraphernalia?
Huh?
That was in my vehicle.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any marijuana?
So you had paraphernalia, but you didn't have the weed for it?
That is because if you're one of these people who either back in the day or either latter day today watch Cops, if they don't have drugs on them, like they either just shot up or just smoked or whatever, they get you for paraphernalia. And paraphernalia feels a lot like intent. Whereas sometimes intent can feel like, are you fucking serious? Like having a plastic bag with a plastic bag that smells like weed.
Yeah.
Intent. You had intent to do drugs or you did them. You go, whoa, this bag smells like weed. That's one thing. That's an ethereal intent. When they pat you down and pull out a bunch of syringes and or crack pipes with like scorching from the lighter around it, I feel a little secure in that intent.
Marijuana in your car?
But it was somebody else's.
I think there was a little bit.
Yeah, it's always not their pants.
I don't know. They had the ticket downstairs, but yes, there was.
All right. There was some marijuana. So,
So
safe to say that
confirmation, we had a little
had a
weed.
13-year-old girl, you would have sat down, hung out, had some food, maybe talk about Blaze, like that some stuff.
Maybe talk about Blaze.
Well, I really can't. I really can't tell you. I really can't tell you.
Can't or don't want to?
No, I really just can't tell you because it's really first.
Well, that's
you're going there and you're trying to like.
So there are two flavors you can lean. You can be the philosophical predator, where when a question is asked like that, you go, well, what is the nature of the very question? Or you can do like Mike here and dive into the real nuts and bolts of it. Neither work. Because like when you try to, whether you approach a bull head on or you try to sneak up behind it with a feather and tickle it, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
If you're ever accused of a crime and you're innocent, shut up. If you're guilty, I don't care. But if you're innocent, shut up and get a lawyer.
Get a feel for the person and see situations like. I mean, that was the intent of. I mean, you've got it right here.
Yeah,
you can go ahead and bring it up. I'll talk to you about it.
Go ahead, bring it up. Dare you, bitch.
When he says intent, I hear Westerbeck.
Yeah.
That was not my intent.
Not my intent.
That was not my intent.
And I didn't smoke, LOL. I could fix that.
Oh,
Did you blink?
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Did you Paw Patrol, right? Look at Mike Manzi. Let's play! If you want to toke up a big bull, say toke up a big bull. You have to watch Blaze.
Yeah.
If you don't get that, sorry. Not one for the road. I know exactly what you meant by that. That was not my intent. You got a court Thursday?
Regardless.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You know,
Go ahead.
Blaze.
I fucking hate that phrase.
So,
Go ahead.
Definitely Blaze beforehand.
As annoying as it is to hear like Chris Hansen be like Blaze, like it's almost more obnoxious to hear it read from the fingertips of Mike Manzi, because who says Blaze?
Like a teenager.
I grew up with a country mile of stoners in every direction. I'm sure we all did going up through junior high and high school. You knew a bunch of stoners. Blaze, maybe it's a regional dialect. Never heard it. It feels so disconnected. It feels like Mike Manzi and Chris Hansen are the same level as far as connecting with the youth.
When I was in high school.
Did they say Blaze?
When I was in high school and even early college, not for weed though, like cigarettes, to smoke in general.
Did they say Blaze for cigarettes?
Yeah. So the when I was at early college, like the guy I dated, he didn't always used to say it, but the people that would go to ask him and ask if they had a cigarette, they would say Blaze. Maybe it is the East Coast thing.
It's like Blaze is a cool sounding word if you are the type of person who thinks that like flame decals on shit are like bitching. Like they're that surface level, like for the ladies, you got the live, laugh, love. And for the gents, you've got like the flame decals and the Sons of Anarchy and the Harley Davidson and the Motorcycle Club. Like those surface level things where you don't necessarily need to be invested in any deeper culture. You just sort of get to skate because you're a fucking surface level bitch. Mike Manzi, surface level bitch.
I just Blaze, don't tempt me. So, you know, obviously.
Don't tempt me to blaze further.
How often do you smoke marijuana?
I
Decent amount?
probably smoke a decent amount, yes.
Do you smoke every day?
What is a The world is relative. Einstein taught us that everything is relative. So terms in a vacuum like a bunch, a bit, a lot, a little, that doesn't mean shit. If you ask an alcoholic, hey, how much do you drink? They'll say, a little, and their liver is dying. It doesn't mean anything. Relative. Give me hard numbers. We created a language so we could try to map out reality. Don't accept a decent amount.
Probably close to it, you know.
Yeah.
I go through you know, ups and downs really with it. It's like there's a very long period of time where I do not smoke at all.
I apologize for this, but for the people out there who are still recognizing that life moves in cycles, I don't know. I'm finding myself less and less sympathetic to people just coming to the realization that everything ebbs and flows. No shit, right? Like bad times come, good times come. Non-dualism needs to have two parts to make up the one. And it's just super frustrating to me when people are like, well, you know, sometimes not, sometimes yes. Like, no shit, bitch. Take this example. You eat dinner every day. Do you eat pizza every dinner? No. Sometimes the graph will hit, and every once in a while, dinner ends up as pizza. So saying that, yeah, from day to day, things are different, or it varies. Whatever. I realize that this is all, I'm applying logic that I'm using in casual conversation with people I know to strangers in high pressure situations, high
Yeah.
stress situations. It's just so weird to me that the hypocrisy's on display, that even when confronted with them, they go, no. Like, let's say Roush, for example, because he's one of my favorites, where you look at the chat log, and he's definitely saying words and terms like fuck around and have sex and stuff like that.
He's very explicit.
Yeah. And then within a span of a car ride, go like a 13-year-old, gross. I'm not interested and I don't even want that. Furthermore, I work at a college. And you go, well, what happened here? Outside of just being a total break from reality, you have to be like, well, I was just kidding, or I don't know. It's just, if you're in tune to a person as a human and you can see their patterns, all of this really delineates, I don't know how to put this. All of these people, you put them in a room, they all look like people. But as soon as they start talking, like Mike Manzi, your fast movers and your slow movers, you start to see them not as their physical form, but as like a representation of what they actually are metaphorically. So as like Jim was a big, bloated, obtuse, drunk idiot. So in my mind, he comes across as like a hippo with the cartoon drunk bubbles popping and hiccuping, who's not subtle. You know why he's here. He's leaving muddy footprints everywhere. And Mike here feels like a bird that thinks it's a hawk, but it's more like a pigeon. In its mind, it's this lean, mean, grooming machine, although it sees itself as this harmless, innocuous, just non-issue. Because he sees himself as a pigeon. When it comes to 13-year-olds, he's a fucking Harris hawk.
They're smoking again, and then it's just like, yeah. It's just not good, yeah.
Just not good.
Have you ever been arrested before, Frankie?
He's kind of like everything Sokol isn't, whereas Jeff Sokol was like, nothing, this isn't bad, I didn't do anything.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
leaning
no.
back on his chair and
It looks bad and all that bullshit. Mike Manzi is up in this dude's face being like, yeah, this looks and is bad. Now, please let me go home.
What other work do you do besides tutoring?
That's it, just trying to find work. That's it.
Do you work on your own or with a company?
Self-employed.
And do you have a company name, or is
No, I
it
do not.
just word of mouth? And what do you I saw your
More or less.
you tutor
I mean,
math?
that's, yeah.
Yeah, you're a math tutor, or
Did you see the shirt, man? Like, fucking, I know math.
you tutor anything and everything?
Math can be, I mean, if I can, I'll tutor it, yeah.
Well, you said you had...
Math is specifically, but if I can, I'll tutor it.
I can teach downward dog.
Today that you work.
Yeah, so that's the thing. He's not specifically calling out downward dog. He's like, if it's not math and I know it, I'll tutor it.
yeah. Yoga.
That's a Kenneth Brinkman is Dustin McFetrish's uncle correlation level. I'm proud of you,
Or did
Chris.
not have a client today? Before you came today.
I did.
I think the majority of
Math was-
child's
Okay.
Mo are perpetuated,
Yeah.
perpetrated by somebody who thinks they're not a real threat.
Right.
Yeah.
There is. So let's try and nail this down to a scale because everybody loves scales. If we're gonna go a predator scale, I'm gonna put Ken as a 1. I know I say he's a 3 a lot, but let's say Ken is a 1. Ken Brinkman is a 1. Whereas if you know this pull, if you're into true crime and like the horrifying side of it, Richard Huckle is a 10.
Yeah, I see. I don't know who that is.
Richard Huckle made like Southeast Asia sex tourism his life.
Oh.
Towards kids.
Got it.
And he was murdered horrifically behind bars. So what I'm getting at here is, yes, there are those like what I'm getting at here is like Ken did not think he was going to be a harm to Rocky, right? He was not a bad influence. So let's say, I'll leave it up to you guys. When do you think, because like Richard Huckle knew he was, for all intents and purposes, trash. Like every moral and ethical standard set by humans, he broke. So, and he knew it. He was well aware of the fact that he was causing harm and proud of it. At what point on that scale of 1 to 10 from Ken to Richard do you think you become aware of it? Because like Westerbeck, right? I don't think he thought that this was a non-horrifying event. So I'd place him at like an 8. Or like the alibi letter predator, Jeff Stacy, all these people who are either too stupid or too diluted to consider what they are doing as harmful. At what point do you say, oh yeah, Chuck Harding, totally a 9. He knew what he was doing.
I think Todd West, was it Todd West? The guy that came in all black and we didn't know anything about him. I think he probably would have been like a 9 if we really knew.
Maybe, but yeah, that's the thing. It'll be your own personal scoring system. Yeah, Allison, I'm totally in agreement because every once in a while, someone in the true crime community on YouTube will do another expose on Richard Huckle, and sometimes I'll forget that he was murdered in prison, and I go, that motherfucker, and I go, oh yeah, like there's a murder out there, Josh Powell, his dad, their kids, his murdered wife. That case is infuriating, and I keep forgetting that they're all dead. The dad, the son, the wife, their kids, all dead. But sometimes you just go, again, what is justice? There's no amount of justice because you can easily forget that Richard Huckle was brutally murdered when weighed up against his sheer volume of criminality.
Yeah.
And that's why I say Ken's a 3. Toss him. Like, whatever. He doesn't feel harmful.
And same with that
Manzi
doctor.
feels harmful. Maurice Wolin?
Yeah, I think he's a low ranking guy. I don't think he would, like, I really don't think he would have.
I disagree.
Really?
I think he's at least a 5.
Huh.
Look into it.
I don't know anything about him.
The changing of his name, the lying about his age.
Oh, he changed his name?
Yeah.
Oh, on to the chat?
To the chat. He was Marco. The fact that he had 2 daughters and a wife, you go, oh, whoa, Maurice Wolin, he's a 3. No. He starts at a 5. We pile on after that if you want to go deep.
Yeah. Did you work? What kind of work have you done?
Absolutely, James.
It's literally just that, just tutoring, just work.
So you're full time,
just self-employed.
And is it high school, middle school, grammar school? Anybody?
It's usually it's pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
It's usually pretty much anybody.
I mean, because if you know high math, you can
do anything.
Teach it all. It's not like
right. If you know, yeah.
If you're a good plumber, you can't teach someone electricity.
Yeah.
But math,
it's anybody, so it goes up to like calculus.
Is that what did you major in school? Did you major math?
Yes.
And where'd you get your degree from?
I own a college.
Petco University.
That's in New York.
Neosho.
New Rock. We used to drive through that train station when I went to college.
East Coast fools.
You understand why we're here?
Oh, of course, 100%.
We have a 33-year-old guy talking about smoking marijuana, hanging out with 13.
Right. So, Allison, you say, now I know he was never made to register, but does he still has teaching license? Don't know.
But do you need a license to be a tutor?
Well, so here's the thing. Speaking of the average white YouTuber, one of his Where Are They Now was Walter Babst. And he actually failed up, technically. So he was the kinky man in Corona who, wanted to be executed, threw his jean jacket over his head and ran away. So Kinky Man Corona lost his teacher's license, but since he was before then trained as an airplane mechanic, left teaching and made probably at least twice, if not 5 times as much as an airplane mechanic, and fucking failed up.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, Allison, since we did, if you believe that PetSmart photo is him, and I do believe it, in the age of deep fakes, I've seen enough people tout it as true. I think it is real. Yeah, and if not, right, there are so many, because these guys went from predators in the old age to lol cows in the modern age. People still troll Lauren Armstrong. People are still, like average white YouTubers, still keeping up with where are they now. They went from being non-designatable criminals we all felt bad about to lol cows.
Yeah.
Which kind of undercuts their dangerousness to society. But the fact that so many people's eyes are on them, it's like, who cares now? It's like once there's a spotlight on the person we should all look at, they're probably not going to fuck up as much because the spotlight's there. Yep. That's the troll community. So as disgusted as I feel sometimes with online trolling and stuff, sometimes they have a side that benefits, which is gross.
Drive from Stanford to Fairfield.
You haven't seen the PetSmart photo? Come on.
What kind of vapor is that? There's a liquid?
Oh, that was.
That's
That's just a.
It's not like a hash oil.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. Yeah.
Stanford to Fairfield's not very far. It's maybe 20 minutes.
In a Cheetos box.
Yeah, no federal crime here.
Yes, but that was for my own safety as well. I mean.
Yeah. Okay. It's so funny because you go, what? It's Mike Manzi. If it is fake, I'll have to eat these words, but it is fucking him. He has got a COVID mask pulled down around his chin like every entitled Karen on the fucking planet at the time. And he looks like he's giving the same sass he gave to Chris Hansen and this detective to just some bitch in line at a pet store.
Yeah.
And he's got a mustache.
So you see the
bad move.
Yes, I did.
Not like this baby.
Didn't look good.
You see the
severity of it.
Severity and the importance of
totally
being honest and talking to you and
being honest.
Yes, I do.
Just being honest.
So what do you think? Would you have any questions for me about from here out what's going on? I know I told you when we were driving in that I'd answer whatever questions.
So,
come on.
What's gonna happen to me?
Most of the time they'll ask, when can I get out? And that's the thing. Like if they get booked on a Friday, no judges come in till the weekend, next
Monday.
week.
Yeah.
And that sucks. But it really doesn't matter because often, and bonds are weird too. So, because it feels like when a judge says, hey, this is a $40,000 bond, like some of the Flagler Beach or the, what was the other Florida place? Like David Schumacher. There were some people who got like an exorbitant amount of bond, like 40 grand. Technically, you only need 10% of that to a bail bondsman. So when it does feel like, yeah, that's some like,
got him.
What's the word? Financial justice. They go $50,000 bond. They got to put up like $5,000. So
yeah, I never knew how that stuff worked. I know people like put up their house and stuff like that.
Right. And
which is crazy.
The judge that does Jay Refner's thing when his mom was an attorney, they have an interesting way of saying, because they say it'll be, because I think Jay Refner was $2,500 cash, surety, or property. I get what property is. I get what cash is. Surety, I don't know what is. I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
Maybe it's like a car.
No, that would fall under property. Like you can put up your house, your car, whatever. Surety maybe is like stock or bonds. If you know,
Life
I'll take it in the
insurance?
typing square. But like covering your bases, that judge is like, I'll take any of the three, and one of the three, you don't know what it is. I'll still take it, bitch.
Google it, bitch.
Do you have questions?
I do have questions.
Go.
I'm sorry. I'm
No.
just
Yeah, totally.
trying to like
5K is
get this all out.
Yeah, no, I got it. It's,
We need Shin's koala to tell us these terms.
I have a lot of questions I don't want to answer.
Shin's
I don't know
koala.
the answer to at this point. But okay, the first question. My vehicle.
your vehicle is being towed. It's brought here. We inventoried it,
Uh-huh.
and
We'll
then it's
put
going
a
to be towed. And I'll
boot
find
on
out
it?
what- matter of fact, I'll do-
Oh, is it pre-towed? Like, is it
Pre-towed.
Have somebody come pick it up?
It's
Or?
at slaughtering.
Okay.
Is it pre-towed? Like, do you tow it to a place before it gets towed to the second place? Like, is there multiple trucks involved? I'm Mike Manzi, the fucking stupidest math tutor on the planet.
It was towed by.
Okay, sorry, but I gotta do this again. This is an illustrator that intelligence doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it does. We can measure people's intelligence in a lot of different ways. You can be incredibly smart when it comes to math or physics or any sort of intellectual field, right? But that doesn't mean shit when it comes to interacting with humans or living in reality. Academics, if you got that unlock, great. It doesn't mean shit as a human. You can be smart, but if you're not charismatic, it doesn't matter, right?
Yes. So Alice says, why does Manzi dress like that one kid in high school who always wore the same sweatshirt every single day and like a Cookie Monster snapback, and that one kid that always runs to lunch?
Dude. That hits me in the feels. When I was in high school, there was a girl. So sad. Her hair was a rat's nest. She spent her time during every class I had in common with her sketching out hypothetical and IRL, if you want to call it, Pokemon maps on graph paper. She had all of every game released up until that point sketched in a notebook of graph paper and wore the same green hooded sweatshirt every day.
Shin's a TCAPist who's also an attorney. He's done a lot of videos with Clobbering Time and Andrew Burkett.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I apologize. I'm deep into a lot of communities, but the TCAP community I'm not super deep into because it oftentimes, like, the Venn diagram overlaps with lolcow so much, and I've already got that covered with like Cyrax and King Cobra and several others. So
I think I remember reading at some point that Jeremy Todd West was the only TCAP press to make Bond, which is surprising because I think all of the Bob's and Vagine guys were well-paid software engineers.
So here's the thing. Are you talking about TCAP as a whole? Because I know a lot of dudes made Bond. For instance, I know that Kelly and Spikes made Bond because Kelly gave Spikes a ride home from the police station. And he bummed a cigarette from Spikes. And Spikes was a fucking maniac who showed up with an arsenal and an R-word kit, essentially.
Oh, good.
You're a hairdresser. Cool. Just mad. Right. And that's the thing. Let me reach out to the humanity in you as a hairdresser, because anytime you have to deal with somebody else's physical presence, I always went the extra mile. When I had a surgery on my ass, I scrubbed my ass so hard every time I knew someone was going to get close to it or look at it. Every time as an extreme, as a non-extreme, every time I would go to get a haircut, I make sure my hair was freshly washed, freshly conditioned, in the best condition it could be for the person who is going to deal with the physical manifestation of this, right?
Yeah.
But and I know because I saw them, there are people who were the exact opposite, who were like, you know what? I'm essentially one step above homeless. You deal with it, Great Clips. Oh yeah, Spikes and Kelly, an
So it won't be
unlikely
on-
match
I won't be
made in
able to get
heaven,
the
right?
vehicle today. No, probably not.
Amazing, we
I might-
appreciate
Yeah, thanks.
Well, here's the deal. You were charged with criminal attempt to commit risk of injury to a minor,
Attempt.
and then the possession of marijuana was the infraction.
Right.
So once we go downstairs,
So funny though, because
But-
like in context, this is all relative. Here, the marijuana is enough to be something to put on the table. In most cases, I watched the interrogation footage of, it's 1 to multiple murders. So to hear the detectives in this case be like, we got the weed on you, bitch, is such a wild situation because most of the time, like, anyone out of Florida, they go, yeah, of course we found weed on you, but I don't give a single fuck about any weed you had in or on your person. Like, there are 4 people dead. I don't give a fuck about the weed. So for here to be like, it's attempted weirdo, and you also did have some weed. So we
Paraphernalia. Not even weed. He didn't have weed. He just had a pipe.
Oh my God. Yeah. Head lice customer. I feel like I need to interview you. Yeah. So like,
Right? We have questions.
the amount of people that you see and have to physically touch, we've got to talk.
Yeah.
the shift commander will look at the charges and set a bond for you. And once you figure out what that bond is, you have the option of trying to call somebody to post
You'll have the
post your
option.
bond, get some money to get you out of here. If they don't post your bond, you'll stay here tonight and you'll go to court tomorrow. You'll go get arraigned in front of the judge, and the judge can
So it's not a
either
Friday.
raise your bond, lower your bond, keep it the same, or get rid of it. Those are the options.
They can OR you. They can, it's whatever they got.
And the judge
It's the same thing that Dudinsky said to McFetridge. But at least Manzi is smart enough not to be like, well, what if because he hopefully, and I may have to eat my words if we press play and he says this shit because I don't remember, but you don't ask a stupid question like, well, what if I can't, or what if I, or what, because the detective doesn't know and also doesn't care.
In the 10 years, she's only found lice once. Fortunately, it was pre-cut because post-cut, if she started, she would have to finish cutting the hair.
Seriously.
So she just turned them away.
Go for it.
Was a kid and the mom seemed pissed at me. Like she said she would just take him elsewhere instead to treat the problem.
Right. Isn't that weird? Like, here, a personal story. When I was young, my parents had the bright idea to put us into a Montessori school, which was very expensive. And the story was we were poor. I don't know if that's true. But the way my parents wrangled this deal is like we became the janitors of this Montessori school. That's just the context. One of the weekends we were going through and cleaning the place, there was a bunch of shit in the toilet that was full of worms. They were alive. And they were swimming in the water.
Oh, no.
So my parents go to the heads of the school at the time and they go, hey, just a spoiler alert. I don't know if you can use this information or not, but there was a bunch of worms in the toilet from someone who's probably suffering from worms. And they got mad at us for telling them.
Nice.
I mean, us, it was my parents.
Right.
Who gives a fuck? I get both sides. Like, I get my parents wanting to be like, hey, something's up. And I get the people at the school being like, we don't give a fuck because, like, that's maybe a HIPAA thing. But it's just one of those situations where you go, what? How do you handle that? You don't want to touch it. But thankfully, these parasites were internal, so it's not like we had to, like, touch a kid's head or whatever.
Still.
will look at the merits of the case and decide what's going to
HIPAA poo.
That's
the second P in the HIPAA.
Oh.
Post your bond and get you out. Okay, so that's kind of the process. Once we figure out your bond, you can make a phone call and just get somebody to try to work on getting out.
I love, like everything that exists, there's a scale that has polarities. And head nodding is no different. because you can give a curt single bob to let people know that you're on board, or you can pull a Mike Manzi here and give like a solid like Billabong style representation of the fucking wave. Like, yes, sir. Like, this is fucking Roxy Billabong wave head right here, bitch.
You know,
I agree.
Not to get off Manzi again, but to go back to the hippopoo, that could have been a thing because
Run Night. Sorry.
We're doing research now where like chemo comes out of urine and can get tracked from other people that go to the bathroom. It's crazy.
I know, but whatever. This was the 90s. It doesn't matter. The moral of the story is the core. I'm not trying to dissect HIPAA. I understand it and it's important.
We think that, yes, Allison.
We all agree wholeheartedly that Ron Knight is Mike Manzi's uncle.
You missed the beginning, I think, when we watched the interaction that they had.
Even if it's factually inaccurate, it is a 100% truth to yours truly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uncle Ron. Uncle Ron! Come on, Uncle Ron.
Let me go out the back door.
Sink in for a second.
Confirm for Uncle. Maury, the lie detector test determined that is your uncle.
Okay.
Everyone says that. Even if it isn't, it's too funny to not tell a lie.
Yeah.
Even if it's not true, here's the thing. I'm going to like it to, on the scale of lies, I'm going to call it a tall tale. Mike Manzi and Ron Knight being uncle and nephew is on par with Pecos Bill and Paul Bunyan.
And
it's part of American folklore at this point.
And Ron Knight got Manzi the job at PetSmart. Let's just put it all together. He knew somebody at PetSmart and he got them the job.
Let's not make it stupid. Let's keep it pure and let's keep it let's not say Pecos Bill like fucking founded the Discovery Zone in the 90s. Let's keep it pure, okay?
While you think about it, let me ask you this. Go ahead.
I was going to ask what specifically gave you
Full
the
circle.
charge.
Because
what do you think the judge will think of me,
marijuana-
says
that's
Mike.
okay, that's freezing fair enough. Because you brought marijuana up to Fairfield to meet a 13-year-old girl. And all of this chat was talking about coming up and meeting a 13-year-old.
And if I did not bring marijuana with me?
There probably would have been an issue as well.
It's you.
That's the least of your worries.
Just because your crime wasn't severe enough to be like, we don't give a fuck. Like the law is nothing but extenuating circumstances. I brought this up before. You can commit a single act, perform a single motion, and be charged with up to a dozen offenses.
Right. Yeah.
So nitpicking just feels like,
what if I didn't bring the weed with me?
Imagine this. You've got a swamp cooler, right? And someone accidentally spilled some dry rice in there. And instead of dumping the whole thing out and cleaning it and doing the whole thing, it's like taking some chopsticks and trying to get it out piece by piece. That's Mike Manzi, trying to remove the rice piece by piece, but it's already fucked up the entire system. You need to be washed and cleaned out through the justice system. You and your chopsticks being like, well, now it won't stink as much, isn't going to work.
Because it's the way the statutes are written. It's you're a 32-year-old man meeting a 13-year-old girl
Statutes.
online, coming up to her.
Regardless of weed.
Maybe that's a local thing too, because remember, they didn't say that Jeff Sokol researched the law.
No.
The statutes.
Yeah.
Municipalities are so fucking crazy. And, as if you're not into true crime, you might think, okay, all law enforcement across the board probably gets, by and large, the same shit. But from camera and audio quality to like vernacular, it's all wildly different.
I'm surprised that Fairfield has shitty visual quality as they do. Just because Fairfield's like a more upper classy-ish.
But here's the thing. it depends on when the lightning strikes. So when, like, let's say when they got this camera, if it was an affluent area, it probably was cutting edge tech at the time. So lightning struck when the iron was hot and all those other stupid little cliches, and you got this fulgurite of reality that is this camera. The lightning struck, it made this camera. It's the best in the biz right now. That unfortunately struck in 1992.
Right.
The harsh progression of time refused to cease. And now here we are in 2015-ish, 2016-ish. I don't know.
I think it was 2015. I think we talked about it at Sokol's thing.
And we're looking at a 1992 camera.
Yeah.
Because whatever made the lightning strike in 1992 hasn't happened again yet. Because law enforcement doesn't improve things unless there's reason to. Like, there's a big thing. That's the thing about law enforcement, is it's waiting for the other side to make a bigger move so we can come in and swoop ahead.
Right. Yeah.
The problem with this police agency is that there's been no reason to be like, if we only had 1080p, if we only had 4K. Because really, I don't think anybody aside from me, because I'm, genius, has called attention to the fact that the human experience plays across the human face, and that is, priceless to a jury. The words, the attitude, the vibe, the fucking FMV cutscene we're getting right here before we get to play more Seventh Guest is great. But when you compare this to Jim Roush, like, that camera was banger. You can see all of his emotions. You can see when he feels genuine and when he's in his head, even though he's totally drunk. It's there because the definition is there. Here, you're looking at a pink blob with two black holes that go right into hell for eyes. And you go, well, was he sincere? I don't know.
Her house, okay, when she's alone in her house.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Right.
But think about it like this. Before this, they had nothing but transcribed confessions from audio tape. And before that, you had someone taking notes. So, yeah, we can look back with the benefit of hindsight relatively and say, this is shit. But in the moment, it probably felt like nothing could be better.
Yeah.
Who knows?
True.
Well, yes, I do understand that, and I know. But like I said, immediately when I got there, I said, do you mind if I take a look around? I mean...
Remember that, guys?
I want to make sure your parents are
I
home.
understand that if
hey, what's with this curtain behind this threshold?
This
that's
is
like,
random.
It's 2 foot back, and it's like, what? Like, huh?
and I'll go back to your
your
analogy of
yeah.
meeting at the mall.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Definitely not.
There are inherent dangers for you and for a 13-year-old girl for you coming to her house. If you went to your buddy's house, would you say, hey, let me look around, I gotta make sure nothing's going on? Make sure there's nobody hiding over
Well,
there. Right? Of course not.
I trust
Right.
my buddy. I don't know what's going on.
So
I've never
you're-
met this person before.
Right.
How
So
could
you're
I-
putting a
The onus.
13-year-old girl
Uh-huh.
into some sort of danger.
Right.
A 13-year-old who can't make those decisions and judgments on their own because of their age, and that's why they have the law.
Not that we need to go into more philosophical depth here, but being a human is complex, and so I partially agree with being like, we need to protect those who are too
Vulnerable.
But we're only interested if they're vulnerable due to age.
Right. If they're vulnerable under the age of 18.
Right. So there are a bunch of people out there who are educated, who are intelligent, who are this, that, or the other, who are still emotionally and or intellectually vulnerable to manipulation. And yeah, okay, we can say at least when they're young, they've got an out because experience is a great teacher. So maybe I've taught myself out of it. So I get it. Yeah. If you're too young to have the experience to make the life choices, it makes sense for us as a collective to be like, don't snuff your life out so quickly. Maybe chill. But then it gets to a certain point where we're all adults with so many years under our belt. You have to be able to survive. Like if takeaway society, if we're all just animals in nature, you can die a zillion different ways by misadventure. And a lot of those are at the hands of others of your species. So at what point should we say, hey, you're an adult, pull your head out of your ass, right? Should it be an age? Should it be an IQ number? Should it be some sort of EQ quotient? Like at what point do we say, okay, at this point, like stop fucking up, like you should know better? Or should we never do that? Should we never be like, you should have known better?
That's probably something for another show.
Right,
Because
I'm
that
just
could
saying,
get a whole thing.
We're not going to get into it now, but like soul search yourself. I don't care because it's a non-issue to me, but if you want to get intellectual about it, it's something to mull over.
It's putting a minor, a person, at risk of injury. That's the way the statute's written. So, yeah, it would have been.
Even though there was no
doesn't matter.
harm or anything done, and it was
Doesn't matter.
happening.
Yeah, ask how her downward dog was.
Make those judgments.
So many people think that like there's no crime until P to V, or P to M, or P to A.
It's a problem.
Fair enough.
Crack that code yourself.
One of the things we're going to do at some point is we're going to get a search warrant and go through your phone, or apply for a search warrant, go through your phone, get copies of everything here again.
So here's what always hits me about these cases is like in this particular moment in which we exist, you carry around a log of your every movement and interaction in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Before smartphones, we had to, as a society, if we wanted to look into you as a person, we had to talk to your friends, your coworkers, and that would all be catered to, hypothetically, the presentation you're cultivating, right? You can bullshit your friends and family, and very few people in your life are going to be around you enough where you can show your true colors, hypothetically. Whereas now, and even back then, here, you have a phone, which doesn't discriminate. It doesn't sugarcoat what you search. It doesn't sugarcoat where you go. It doesn't make excuses for the things you do. It is simply raw data of your life. And the point I'm making with all this is, even if you are an innocent bystander, we all now run the risk of things that aren't really necessarily hurting anybody, but are against some statute. Whereas anybody says, let me look at your phone of authority, potentially you're on the hook.
Yeah.
And that's where we get a little dicey in this law and order system, because you can have a detective who goes like, I don't give a fuck about the shit you do. I'm worried about a murder. Or do you have a letter of the law guy who goes like, hey, I solved a murder and you're fucked for the petty crime you had a digital footprint of on your phone. It's spirit versus letter. Again, everything has two extremes. It's all one piece, but it's frightening, right?
Yeah.
Because if someone, like the Sasha Samsudin case, for instance, they pulled a lot of dudes in her life into an interrogation room and said, give us your DNA and let us have your phone. And if for whatever reason they decided to take a special interest in any one of them who was not, because it was obviously Stephen Duxbury, but anyone in Sasha Samsudin's life that wasn't the murderer, they could have been like, hey, guess what? Here's a list of misdemeanors and our felonies we found along the way.
Right. Yeah.
And you can say, well, they shouldn't be. Yikes.
We want to make sure stuff is the same.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Insanity Pepper. It wouldn't necessarily go beyond, but that's the thing. If the warrant is worded in such a way, or if they say, hey, you can look in such and such areas of this person's phone. Like, for instance, if somebody wanted to look through my phone, they got a search warrant and they're looking for photos in a specific folder. I've got so many different folders, from camera to Canva to AI art to background erasers to things I downloaded, screenshots, and yada, yada, yada. If it's generic enough to be like,
let's look into it.
That's the thing. Language is so dicey, we can spend the rest of our lives dissecting a single word.
Yeah, because they could just have them put, like, on the warrant, it could say, search internet apps.
Yeah. It's a horrifying game of evolution, but instead of manifesting in organisms that shift and change to complement one another's strategies and or biology, it's a war of ideas. Because we say, well, murder, this, that, it's all against the law. But if someone does one of these crimes in a very specific way, we've got to make sure to introduce legislation to change the statute to make this specific crime that's already technically caught under this. It's kind of like the classification of life. You've got kingdom, phyla, species, all those little chunks, right? And that's how we get to the place we are, where you can pull your hand from behind your head down to your waist, holding a knife, and stab someone. A single action. One. Bam. You killed someone. You show up in court, 15 charges.
Yeah.
Is there a passcode on your phone?
Yes, there is.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just the way we live.
It's 0011.
Do any damage on it as we try to...
P.S. His passcode to his phone is, I want to say, on par or slightly better than Mel Brooks' combination for his luggage in Spaceballs. Mel Brooks in Spaceballs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the same combination I have in my luggage. Mike Manzi, 0011. Just barely past the 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's not bad. I know what you mean. That, like, hate crime laws being different than the originating crime.
Because that's the thing. We're all in it trying to figure out the best way to make everybody feel good after someone does something bad. But it's impossible. No matter how many nonprofits, no matter how many statutes you change or modify or introduce based off of cases named after victims, we all have come to a basic understanding of what we have all accepted as acceptable and unacceptable. Not necessarily right or wrong, but acceptable and unacceptable. And it just feels like we're making the unacceptable so specified that we all know that this is a bad thing you did, but we take it personal and say, well, murder's bad, but it's aggravated murder with a special circumstance, and it was premeditated, and this, that, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The reality is the reality. A person in this hypothetical situation, let's say a murderer killed someone, and that's the reality. A life was snuffed, and that's it. That's all we got. But to get our pound of flesh as a society, we can't just say you killed someone. we gotta say you killed someone, and it was aggravated, and there were mitigating circumstances in the negative, and this, that, and the other.
And you didn't have a license for the gun.
Because as much as we want to say we want the criminal justice system is for reformation, what we actually want is to grind them into a very fine powder, dissolve that powder in sulfuric acid, put that acid in a rocket ship, and shoot it to the sun. But as we're thinking about that whole process, we're going, rehabilitation.
You didn't have any like computers in your car, iPad.
And personally, I think rehabilitation is the right way to go. Throw someone away for the rest of their life, whatever. People can be taught that what they've done is wrong and their behavior can be modified down to 100% of the circumstances. But if we want to put our money where our mouth is, we've fucking got to, not feel pissed when the Manitoba bus cannibal gets released after he's reformed. It feels shitty to say, but we've got to do it if you believe it.
Oh God, our whole system is built around doing everything possible not to rehabilitate. It's completely ridiculous. Inmates come out worse unprepared. Yeah.
Right. But that's how we talk. We as a society talk the government into giving us more money. Maybe because we've got public or government owned prisons, privately owned prisons. I don't see a lot of reformation happening. There's a lot of solitary, there's a lot of punishment, but that's what got us here in the first place. Every serial killer or everybody who's been accused of a crime, bar none, has a sob story, which we all possibly have. Because if you're, downtrodden long enough, you can't act out. So I can't denigrate that aspect. And so the through line, the common sense aspect is clear. If you say, well, this person got here at the end of a long trail of abuse and neglect and negativity, we got to put our money where our mouth is and go, it's positivity that will get us to where we need to go, not further into the depths. Like if you come from an abusive household and you turn to a life of crime because of yada, 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 I doubt the answer to that negative upbringing is a negative continuance. Yeah. How do I want to liken it? It's such a difficult situation. If you, it's impossible because how do you confine a human experience to words? But if someone comes, like a beaten dog, an abused dog that is saved by the ASPCA or any other charitable altruistic association, they go, okay, we saved this dog. They've been abused soup to nuts their entire life. And they go, okay, if they're invested in this dog, this organism's life, they'll put in the effort to untrain that dog. And that's all it takes.
Right.
It's as simple as showing an alternate path or showing an alternate perspective, because things feel normal if you're in them all the time. Your life, if you're hearing me right now, your life feels normal to you. If I look at it, if she looks at it, if anyone else looks at it, they go, what the fuck? This is weird as fuck. All of my friends, every sleepover, it felt like living in a different planet.
Oh, 100%.
All the rules, the food, everything was different.
Yeah.
So that's just it. We can't be like, okay, you've been dealt shit your entire life. You did a shitty thing, Probably because of it. Maybe nature, maybe nurture. I don't give a fuck where you stand on that. It doesn't matter. But what we know for sure is that beating a beaten dog doesn't make that dog more apt to interact with humans.
Yeah.
It sucks because you want your pound of flesh. You want vengeance. I don't know what got that into us as a society, because we should all be working for the betterment as a whole. But when you see an aberration, part of you wants to go like, cut it off.
As I love my dad, do you communicate with?
No, just my iPhone. It's my iPhone.
Right, it's your iPhone. Right. What's your phone?
914-912-5002.
Surprised they didn't bleep that. But like it's active
There's
anymore.
no way I can like.
Big Salmon would
let
totally
my dad
call
know
it.
Where I'm at.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, like,
The number you've called is out of service and no longer active. And he-
my house, I can let him tell him to come here.
We're gonna go right downstairs.
Or he leaves a
Call. You're gonna use the
voicemail.
phone
I'm
to
Stone
phone.
Phillips.
I'm Stoned Phillip.
And there's no use calling.
I'm saying, if you're going to do that, like have a character ready. If you're, not that I'm dogging on Baked Salmon, because it's,
We love you.
I love him and it's a great bit. But if it's one of those things where like, unless you're really good at improv and you can read the person potentially, or the voicemail or whatever, and craft the character on the fly, it would behoove you to have something in your back pocket to be like, I'm Stoned Phillip, looking for this, that, or the other.
Mm-hmm. Like a script.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm fine on my feet, but oftentimes I'll put a few lines in my back pocket, because what if you freeze in the clutch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit here for a second.
There's no use calling him right now if you don't know the bond.
No use.
I mean, unfortunately, it's not unlimited phone calls.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, it's not unlimited. It's not Verizon's unlimited plan, bitch. You get one phone call and we're throwing your ass in a cell that smells like vomit and piss. He's so sad. What am I going to do?
From here on, I think you need to, and maybe because you're in the moment, and you have a lot of stuff on you right now. You need to see the bigger picture of.
I understand
It's a
where
problem.
you guys are coming from.
It's a problem what you did.
Okay, so cool.
Regardless of marijuana, it's a problem. It's a problem.
That's it too. It's like if you've never, like if you're not a true crime fanatic or buff or whatever, and all of your personal interactions are with people, saying something like that is 100% acceptable. Where you go, I appreciate you. That's your opinion. I respect your stance. However, I respectfully disagree. When you're talking about aliens or ghosts or politics or any of that shit, you can go like, yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I love you despite the fact that we disagree.
Yeah.
This is not that situation.
No.
You can't be like, honestly, Detective Kelly, all due respect, agree to disagree. Now, can you please get my $1 out of my prop bag and I can go get a soda?
A 32-year-old chatting up a 13-year-old about.
I mean, you could probably say
Bill LeBlanc
she's
head
chatting
wave.
me up too.
Oh,
I was not.
I understand it.
Does that?
But here's
Does that do anything or no?
Does that do anything?
I just asked about the
Here's the
downward dog. That's it.
what should happen is you're on Whisper, you're on whatever.
I used to, when I was very aggressive about things, I had a stance where like after you're 15 and you join the workforce, unless it's like the weekend or you're doing yard work, you wear pants because you're an adult. You signify to the world you've passed from adolescence and sub-adulthood into adulthood by wearing pants. I'm not hard and fast on that anymore. Personally, I still do it. I wear pants everywhere I go when I'm in public, unless I'm going to a public pool or something, because I feel like society expects a certain level of leg coverage. And every time I have to look at fucking Manzi's pale, pasty, bread doughy thigh here, it makes me think like, you didn't even have respect enough to hide those disgusting bread ball dough fucking dams.
That's maybe it is an East Coast thing, because my dad would wear shorts all the time, but he'd have tube socks on too, so he'd have shorts with.
That's the thing. I'm that's why I'm not so hard and fast on this rule and angry about it anymore, because it's a cultural thing, possibly, and everybody's got their own weird taste. So I can't get personally offended by his pasty, hairless,
chicken legs,
disgusting, flabby Pillsbury Doughboy legs. It just feels like maybe I just gained this through osmosis because no one ever told me. It's just like when you've got something covering your legs from ankle to hip, it's less of a distraction because, like, people's legs don't see a lot of sun by and large. And those who do, you go, oh, geez, look at those tanned ass. And often a lot of times they're hairy too. And you're, and they wear sandals everywhere. But like Mike Manzi here, you see those pasty, creamy thighs. And you go, those don't see a lot of sun. And it's distracting. High contrast is distracting. Our hands, our faces, his bald head, they all see the sun a lot, and so they are an acceptable color. When you enter society with your hands and face and head, a healthy, vitamin D enriched, ultraviolet, exposed skin tone, you go normal. You see a dude like Mike Manzi pop out with these fucking bread dough chalky legs, and you go, God damn it.
Well, not only that, but like, so yes, I understand he was going
Be a professional.
He was going to somebody's house to meet a girl. Okay. No matter what age they were, like if I was going to go, if you were coming to my house to meet me for a date, would you wear that?
Negative.
So why?
It's embarrassing. Here's the thing. When you go to meet someone
for the first time,
for anytime for a possible sexual encounter, whether
also
it has happened before, it is the first time, anything. If it's even a dangling preposition or a possibility, like a thread that can undo the entire sweater of your relationship, you make accommodations. Like if you, let's say, for instance, the person you're looking to get with sexually, you work with, so there's uniform restrictions. You'll find something that is the least restrictive, that is the easiest accessed for the sexual activity.
Mm-hmm.
Like if, for instance, not to get too personal, I was a caregiver at an assisted living facility for the elderly and the we had a dementia unit and the affected care, yada, yada, yada. And, we're all humans there. And since most healthcare workers are ladies and I was the only dude, a bunch of shit got slung my way. And every time I thought there was even the inkling, the 1% chance possible, it never happened because I was a fucking loser. But even if I thought there was the inkling, I would dress appropriately. I would wear the scrubs I knew that had easy access to the wang area, right? So I get that. It's a tightrope you have to walk that is easily to fall over on either side. You need to become overdressed because you're looking to impress, or you're underdressed because you're too easy to get the message across to them that your genitals are easily accessible. Mike fell off the wrong side.
Totally the wrong side. Better date outfit, Manzi or Velez?
I don't
know who Velez is.
Okay, so Velez, I don't remember what he wore on the bottom. I know he was wearing a t-shirt. Please refresh my memory on his bottoms. If he was wearing sweatpants, totally acceptable.
For a date?
A sweatpant is acceptable because there are varying degrees of sweatpant. You want, let's say a 10 is a dress pant with a ironed crease.
Like a pleat.
And like a cuff. But that would necessarily...
There'd be a belt involved.
Yeah, there'd be, the upper torso would have to reflect that. So by and large, your easiest choice is jeans. Okay, yeah, he was wearing basketball shorts. Yep. That's Manzi. It's just like... ease of access. There was no point because he's like, I don't give a fuck. But hey, Deacon. So, but yeah, that's the thing is like, you want to be in that, and the perfect middle ground is a jean pant. It's not like a Dockers. You don't want to come across as like some fucking doofy Best Buy employee where you're wearing like khaki Dockers. You don't want to show up wearing shorts. God forbid jean shorts. At least basketball shorts or athletic shorts, you can say, well, I was engaged in a physical activity, proving once and for all that I'm not a pasty loser. Right?
But they're easy access.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, that's where sweatpants come into play. Because you can say, well, I'm a very physically active person. I needed to wear sweatpants because I'm always balling. I like, what's that fucking sport that George Hughley III likes?
Oh, shit.
You wear stuff, you got sticks.
Lacrosse?
I like lacrosse because people don't know about I'm an idiot. I don't know lacrosse. So you can say, I play lacrosse. And people go, oh, yeah, great. Cool. I don't know fuck about that. You can say, I know cricket. Great. You can say, that's why I wear the sweatpants. But they're pants, bitch.
Play sweet racquetball.
Ew.
Hey, how are you? Like
13 to 5.
I like your app. I like your picture, whatever. We talk about food. Hey, how old are you? 13. Oh. All right. I'm sure you're very nice, but
Jesse's an icon? Really?
That's what should be happening.
I might be out of the loop.
Is it because of the Jurassic Park t-shirt?
What you explained,
Yeah, is that it?
Is it the dinosaurs?
He does. Okay, there's a caveat because some people, that's their aesthetic, right? They just have basketball shorts and t-shirts as like their like any other person caught out in the wild looking like Jay Leno. You go like, look at this fucking dude in the Canadian tuxedo. He's got a denim jacket, a denim shirt, denim pants, denim shoes, and a denim hat.
She goes, no, I hate him. His style, though, chef's kiss. I'm totally fucking around.
Okay,
what did
Jesus Christ.
God, what's his name? Cleanest best pleasure.
Cody Green.
Was he wearing basketball shorts? Or did he have jeans and a big ass long white t-shirt?
He had a long white t-shirt, white hat. White shorts too.
He had white shorts.
He was white from top to bottom.
Yeah.
White shirt, white shorts, white shoes, white hat, white sock.
Why didn't he have white glasses? I wish he had white glasses. That would have just made the whole thing.
Those are obnoxious. That's why. But no,
the whole thing's obnoxious.
I know, but that's your glasses, stuff that are perpetual need to be neutral. Cody Green was at least one of his few positives is he was at least smart enough and or lucky enough to get glasses of a neutral color.
Spoiler alert, audience, my glasses are purple.
But that's a fashion statement because that's your dress isn't like you're not dressing in all one color.
Right.
You're not a Cody Green where you're like, you know what? I feel like dressing like I'm going to a Hollywood premiere. Like you're wearing a meat dress. You're dressing as a swan. Or you're wearing all one color. Or it's all see-through and your nipples are totally exposed.
Manzi is dressed like Jigsaw.
He is! Oh my God, you're right!
That's
Holy
funny.
Fuck. Somebody wanted to play a game and the repercussion was
play a
Mike
game.
Manzi.
Things and
Oh shit.
texting and all these apps and
Do you want a downward dog?
way to communicate.
Do you want to do a little yoga?
If you're not overly
not
comfortable
good at
doing it
references.
face to face or whatever, it's an easy way to do it. I get it.
Rose
I
on a
understand.
tricycle.
100% I get it.
Yeah, could you imagine? He's like, dee, dee, dee. He's like this tall, rolls in on the tricycle. There's the D card. He's like, I can tutor you in math. Yikes.
But
Can you get me that cupcake off the counter?
there's that level of anonymity between the two people that makes it easy.
You like red velvet cupcake, right? Well, what if you were drowned in red velvet? Every time somebody looks at a cupcake more velvetly, pour it on you, Mike Manzi, you piece of shit.
But when you close that gap of anonymity, you have to make sure that you're not dealing with.
Doesn't it just seem like Mike Manzi is super invested in this shit?
Yep. In that blurry picture, yeah.
Adios, Deacon. We'll catch you later.
Obviously, you guys are here. You know? There's nothing wrong with going on these apps and talking and doing whatever.
Absolutely nothing.
But as soon as somebody says I'm
The whatever, it might be a problem for whatever, but going on the apps, not a problem.
13 or 15,
16, 17.
Do you want to know something? The cruel irony of this show is like, well, you know what? We've got roughly 6 minutes of Chris Hansen footage and literally 34 minutes and 51 seconds of raw interrogation footage here. I thought, oh man, what if the show's only an hour and a half?
3 hours later.
Thanks. You know?
I don't.
Yeah.
Or yeah, sorry, I do. I'm not so.
Does this stop at all, or can you
Yeah,
stop it?
yeah, it'll turn off when we leave, yeah. Everything, it's all recorded. So.
Does this recording stop?
Now, here's the thing. Hilariously, it's a reference to what I showed you earlier. He's pointing to the Sony Red camera put there by True Crime Daily. And he's going, will this ever stop? And now here you can see, where's he looking? Not at that Sony camera, right? He's looking at that russet gold that is nailed into the corner of the room with all eyes on him. Will this ever stop?
Yeah.
You look like a fucking monster. This is Frankenstein's monster.
Let me get you downstairs so you can call your dad. And see about.
But Dad, I didn't do anything.
That's the worst part. It always, maybe
It's not Uncle Ron.
This is my humanity showing. But when we get to deal with these people in a vacuum, right, in this perfect little bubble, no matter what shape it comes in an interrogation room where all that exists are these 4 white walls, a table, several chairs, Kleenex and or toilet paper, and that's it. It's always such a fourth wall breaking bummer. Because Safraz Khan does this. They did it with Mike here. Everybody who reaches out or makes reference to a family member is so heartbreaking. Like, what's his nuts? Catherine Reed. His first name is Paul, but he lives in his sister's basement. And it's almost... No, it is laughable for Catherine and Mike and Paul to be sitting there in the same station as Roush. And he's like this giant, lumpy, full-grown toddler. And it's just like, oh, God damn it, Paul. You hopeless fuck up. And then he's like, my sister, and she's a real person, and I don't want this to affect her. And you go, oh, my God, that's right. There's
other
ripple
people
out into reality.
Well, that's like
can't shut off the potato.
Sorry. Well, that's there was one that we watched the processing of who, like, he was across from the detective that was typing in all the stuff, and then he was able to call his wife or something.
His mom?
Maybe it was his mom. I thought it was his wife, or was he was trying to explain things not in a way that was like.
Are you talking about Maurice?
I don't remember who
either
it was.
it's Jay Refner calling his mother and being like, hey, Mom, can my mom come down here? Or it was Maurice Wolin calling from the handcuffed around the waist being like, I didn't do anything, but I did something stupid.
I think it was that one. Like, that is like, because didn't he have kids too? Like, it
right,
was,
and that's the thing, is like,
people that do this don't think about people around them.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's if you want to consider these people as lolcows, it helps to see them, ironically, unrelative.
Yeah.
Everything else about them, we have to say, oh, well, relatively this, that, or the other. But the dichotomy of that is, and the hypocrisy of it is, we want to see them as autonomous beings that don't have a family they're disappointing, that don't have connections to real people.
Yeah.
And that sucks when they break the fourth wall, but it needs to happen. This isn't just some bullshit. Like, whether you're Mike Manzi or Cyrax, however you fit in this scheme of lolcow and or whatever, like, I just can't turn off my humanity utterly to get, deep in like a pig in shit, just wallowing in human suffering. No matter who it is, even Mike Manzi here, Sokol, Westerbeck, they all still, however big the slice, there's a sliver to a huge chunk of like, I still feel for them because we're all in it more or less together. So how do you integrate those two parts? You don't. You just live as a hypocrite, like me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Can
I look into the camera and say my name, Mike Manzi?
Just very, very. Am I gonna be able to look at my card today? You said or no?
I'm not sure if you call the garage and they can.
So funny. Like, there are varying levels at which things happen. On a personal level, you can do things quickly or slowly. It's up to you. When it goes out of your hands into like a business setting, into a commercial setting, they are beholden to you as the customer. So their interest is to do things fast and efficient so that you keep coming back as a customer. The level below that, and then down a flight of stairs, and then through a secret passage, down another flight of stairs, is the government, where they go, hey, guess what? You're a number and fuck you.
Yeah.
So, like, if a commercial company had to take your car because of they were going to detail it or do whatever, get it back to you as fast as possible, Mr. Manzi. Aye, sir. Your customer's always right. The government is the exact opposite. And they go, he goes, I'm going to get my car back. 4 to 6 weeks. It'll be fucked up from the floor up.
And you have to pay us $4,000 for impounding.
And you'll have to pay for the privilege to get it back. And some of the stuff that used to be in it might not be anymore. And the stuff that is left there is now covered in powder because we were looking for semen and or fingerprints. So not only are you getting most of your stuff back, but it's dirty and fucked up. Government.
Yeah.
I'll meet you there, maybe.
Yeah, I have to pay for it too.
Yeah,
right? Do you know how much that is?
But I realize I painted that as like this horrifying thing, but like, you're in a different position. You're not a customer spending money. You're a criminal. So fuck you. That's the thinking.
Ballpark is like 120 maybe, but I'm not positive. You had some cash. I think.
That's a steal.
Yeah, I had a little bit of cash.
Yeah.
So 100.
I had my car towed from a girlfriend's dormitory. She was going to ASU. I parked in a place I shouldn't have, and they towed my car, and it was twice that. $240.
Well, there's something else.
Yeah,
a couple hundred here, so. But we'll give you the number. We'll give you all that.
Okay.
All right.
I guess the last question is, you don't know what bond is, do you?
No, we have to go down in the ship manual. We'll set
They don't know that shit.
They never do, but they have to ask because
What's with the arm movements?
I'm a sex robot.
I don't know.
Look at him go. Because here's the thing. If you want to, because he's asking a serious question, but he doesn't want to.
Right, like I don't have a lot of money. Do you know how much?
Well, no, like because he's saying how much is the bond, and the unspoken part of that is how much do I have to pay to leave jail?
Yeah.
Knowing I have to come back to face a sex crime.
Yeah.
But to cut down on all of that horrifying reality, you go, how much do I have to pay because it's a crazy situation where it might be over here and it might be over here. I don't know, Mike Manzi. I'm a fucking idiot.
Look at my shorts.
That's it, guys. I don't want to watch anymore, so we're going to stop it there. I appreciate you showing up, interacting. It's been a blast. Maybe that's the thing. Is like I shouldn't be annoyed or be trepidatious about these things, because watching them alone is a very different experience than watching them with you guys. Because when I'm watching them for research or for just the sheer fuck of it, I've got no one to vent these ideations to. So I go, and it's like a tea kettle on the stove with a cork in the spigot. And I go, that's enough. And the cork pops and I turn the video off. But here I can release a steady jet of steam. We're like, whoo, made it.
3.5 hours later, we went through a 34-minute interrogation.
We rolled through a solid 40 minutes of footage in just under 3 hours and 16 minutes. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much. It is always a pleasure. I do appreciate it. I don't have anything planned next week, so I can't tantalize you, but something will be popping. I guess that's it. I've got nothing to plug. All my plugs came out last week. We've got some projects in the works that I can't plug yet. So I guess that's it. I'll start name dropping some people. Allison, Insanity Pepper, Decon, JD, everybody who showed up. Caleb, before you had to go.
Joe,
everybody, thank you so much. And yeah. So, not physically exhausted, but mentally, I am just an empty keg. Like the spigot's open, there's a couple of drips, but that's it. So, thanks for watching, guys. That's it. We're out of here. That's the wrong button.
News! No, the news won't stop!
For the try to
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.